It was supposed to be just a drink of water upstairs, but the man ended up taking the sales goddess right then and there, just as her regretful ex-boyfriend came back, hoping to make up. He walked in, only to hear that she had already been thoroughly claimed. He never imagined the one who stole her heart was a penniless nobody. But this so-called ordinary guy was far from simple. Even the gentle and elegant counselor couldn't help falling for him. The cold and aloof campus belle took the first step just for him. A warm-hearted big sister even woke up early to cook him a loving breakfast. But what no one knew was, Shen Yuan used to be a true elite, a born rich heir. Back when he first entered college, he easily won over the most coveted senior in the flight attendant class. He lived a life everyone envied, until everything changed his third year. A sudden catastrophe shattered his world. His family bankrupt, his status stripped away overnight. From that moment on, even when Shen Yuan took the initiative to ask his roommates to go to the internet cafe together, they coldly replied, "Shen Yuan, I don't think we're that close, are we? Do you still think you're the same rich kid who could call the shots?" Those so-called friends who used to call him brother started keeping their distance. Some even actively avoided him. There was nothing he could do. His parents and sister had been forced to move into a rundown rental, and he had no choice but to return to his dorm. His entire life turned upside down. The once untouchable Shen Yuan, the carefree and extravagant lifestyle he once had, all seemed like a thing of the past. His future was now uncertain, filled with confusion and despair. Until one day, his current girlfriend asked to meet him. With a calm expression, she looked him in the eyes and said, "This is the end, Shen Yuan. I don't think we have a future together. I hope you find a more sensible, more suitable girl." Hearing those words, Shen Yuan froze. He stared at Zhou Wanting, completely caught off guard. "Ting Ting, after 3 years together, is this really it? Are you really this heartless?" He finally spoke, his voice tinged with unwillingness. Zhou Wanting let out a cold chuckle and said flatly, "The way you're talking, like some lovesick fool. Do you really think there was that much love between us? You should know better." She paused, her tone suddenly impatient. "And stop calling me Ting Ting. It's so outdated. If we ever meet again in the future." She hesitated for a moment, then turned away. "Forget it. Let's not meet again. My friend's here, I have to go." But just as she was about to leave, Shen Yuan suddenly slammed the car door shut. "All those designer bags I bought you, you probably won't be using them anymore. Why not give them back to me?" At those words, Zhou Wanting's face instantly darkened with disdain. "Shen Yuan, have some dignity, will you? I was with you for 3 years, and you only bought me a few lousy bags. Now that we've broken up, you actually want them back." Shen Yuan smiled faintly. "In that case, I don't want the money either. How about we relive some old memories instead?" Just then, the man in the car rolled down the window and said coldly, "Ting Ting, get in. Don't be upset." Then, turning to Shen Yuan, he added, "Hey, little brother, where are you headed? I can give you a ride." Shen Yuan muttered to himself, "I call her Ting Ting, and it sounds tacky, but when you say it, suddenly it doesn't? That's pretty amusing." Still, he remained calm and replied evenly, "No need. My place is just nearby, a few steps away." The man in the car continued, "Ting Ting and I are in no rush. We're just worried you might be too upset to handle this. Little brother, I think it'd be best if I take you home, just to make sure you're okay." Shen Yuan thought to himself, "You're really good at playing mind games, going straight for the core. But you didn't expect me to strike back, did you? You really think I'm that naive?" With that thought, he suddenly leaned against the car door and said casually, "Big guy, you're a good man. I appreciate the concern, but my place is really close, just a few steps away." He patted the car door and added, "Wanting is a good girl. Please take good care of her from now on." Shen Yuan took a deep breath before continuing, "As men, we should give women the best. Oh, and Wanting has a few preferences you might want to remember. First, she likes to use Okamoto 001 condoms. Stockings don't need to be too expensive, but the high-quality ones are a bit inconvenient. Her favorite outfits? Nurse uniforms and police uniforms." The moment those words left his mouth, the man in the car turned deathly pale his face twisted with barely contained fury. The next second, he slammed on the gas. The engine roared, and the car sped away like a bat out of hell. Shen Yuan stood in place, watching as the car disappeared into the distance. A faint, cold smile tugged at his lips. He muttered, "Big guy, I was just getting to the good part." Then, with a hint of mockery, he added, "Wanting, maybe you really did make the right choice after all." He let out a sigh and murmured to himself, "Whatever. She has nothing to do with me anymore. I just hope her choice brings her the perfect life she's looking for." Suddenly, a voice echoed in Shen Yuan's ear. "That's right. Everyone should strive to live the life they truly desire." Then, a panel abruptly began loading, flickering with an eerie glow. Perfect life system initializing. Shen Yuan froze, momentarily bewildered. Staring at the text on the panel, he thought, "Am I the host? But I'm not dead. How is this even happening? Am I hallucinating?" The panel continued. Perfect life system successfully loaded. A perfect life requires not only wealth as a foundation, but also the favor of the opposite sex. Time-limited mission activated. Spend money on a female friend with a favorability score above 60 and gain their affection. Mission reward. The system will refund 3 times the amount spent. If the female friend's favorability increases by 3 points within the period, the refund will be doubled. Note: only personal savings or cash can be used for expenses. Shen Yuan suppressed the chaos in his mind and muttered under his breath, "This system has to be rigged. This isn't real. Get out of my head." But no matter how hard he clutched his head and shook it, the panel remained. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out from behind him, "Shen Yuan." The voice was loud and clear, carrying a hint of reprimand. "Come on, dude. It's just a breakup. It's not that serious." Shen Yuan turned around and saw Li Xiao, his student counselor. With a faint smile on her lips, she continued, "Isn't it just bye-bye, on to the next? That's what the guys always say, right?" Shen Yuan suddenly froze. His gaze instinctively shifted to Li Xiao's head, where a number was flickering above her. At the same time, the panel's voice rang out again. Li Xiao's favorability toward the host, 65. Shen Yuan's mind raced. A number and a description above her head? Could the perfect life system actually be real? Wasn't it just a hallucination? Seeing him still dazed, Li Xiao smiled slightly and patted his shoulder. "Shen Yuan, snap out of it. Don't space out." Shen Yuan finally snapped back to reality, internally astonished. Am I actually lucky for once? Scratching his head awkwardly, he tried to cover up his unease. "It's nothing, just a bit sudden, that's all." Seeing that he had calmed down, Li Xiao asked, "By the way, about the scholarship I mentioned last time, what do you think? You need to submit your documents soon. This is the only way I can help you now." However, Shen Yuan responded coldly, "A few thousand yuan won't even make a dent in my family's debt. Why not give the scholarship to someone who actually needs it?" Hearing his words, Li Xiao didn't push further. She simply nodded lightly. "All right, if you ever need anything, feel free to come to me, even if it's just about relationships." With that, she turned to leave. "I'll get going now. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out." Watching her walk away, Shen Yuan's mind raced. Li Xiao fits the system's time-limited mission criteria. If I complete it, will I really get double the refund? Should I test it out? With that thought, he suddenly stepped forward and grabbed Li Xiao's hand. "Miss Li, thank you for always looking out for me. Hold on, let me buy you a drink." Smiling, he handed her a cup of milk tea. "Here, Miss Li, this is for you." Seeing the milk tea Shen Yuan handed her, Li Xiao's face instantly flushed. She murmured softly, "Thank you." At that moment, Shen Yuan's phone suddenly vibrated. He checked the message. His balance had originally been 87 yuan. After spending 6 yuan on the milk tea, it dropped to 81 yuan. Then, he received a deposit of 18 yuan, bringing his balance to 99 yuan. It worked. The double cashback was real. A thought struck Shen Yuan. If I can keep Miss Li's favorability above 60, I can keep spending money on her and continuously earn cash back from the system, right? This means I have a chance to pay off my family's debt. And if I play this right, We could even become wealthier than before. Determination filled Shen Yuan's eyes. I'll get back to where I was. No, I'll surpass my former self. But right now, my total funds are only 99 yuan, way too little. The most urgent task is to secure more capital and find the right women to spend money on so I can truly start my comeback. A moment later, Shen Yuan checked his account statements and did some quick calculations. Gold bar credit limit, 8,000 yuan. Loan limit, 20,000 yuan. Business loan, 21,585 yuan. Plus my 99 yuan balance. That's a total of 49,684 yuan. In Miss Lee's eyes, I'm just a student from a fallen wealthy family. If I want her to accept an expensive gift, I need to be a bit more subtle. Time ticked by. An hour later, Shen Yuan had already purchased a handbag and promptly tossed it into the trash. This bag cost 39,800 yuan, part of this year's spring collection. I have to say, this high-quality replica is good enough for Miss Lee to accept. Standing outside Li Zhao's apartment, he knocked on the door while thinking, I wonder if Miss Lee has a boyfriend. The door opened, and Li Xiao looked surprised. Shen Yuan? Is that you? Shen Yuan flashed a casual smile and said lightly, Sorry to disturb you. Miss Lee, were you cooking? Li Xiao studied him with slight suspicion. Is something wrong? Shen Yuan hesitated for a moment before speaking sincerely. Miss Lee, you've looked after me for 3 years in college. I used to take that for granted, but today I truly realized how valuable and heartwarming your help has been. This is just a small token of my appreciation. I really hope you'll accept it. Li Xiao immediately waved her hand, a slightly embarrassed smile appearing on her face. No, Shen Yuan. I'm your teacher. This is just my job. Nothing special. I treat all my students the same way. Shen Yuan smiled slightly, but continued to insist. Actually, it's just a high-quality replica. It's only worth 200 yuan. Miss Lee, you know my family situation. Do you think I can afford to waste money? You've helped me so much, and I don't want to just accept that without giving something in return. This bag may not be worth much, but it's a small gesture of my gratitude. If you don't mind, please take it. After a moment of hesitation, Li Xiao finally nodded. All right, since you're so insistent, I'll accept it. I'll return the favor someday, maybe during a holiday or on your birthday. Just as they were talking, a sudden burnt smell wafted out from the kitchen. Li Xiao's eyes widened in shock. She rushed toward the kitchen, shouting, Oh no, my stir-fry is burning. She peeked her head out from the kitchen and saw Shen Yuan still standing at the door. With a smile, she said, Shen Yuan, you haven't had dinner yet, have you? Stay and eat with us. Shen Yuan smiled to himself, thinking, as long as Miss Lee doesn't have a boyfriend, I can get closer to her. He knew that close interactions could effectively increase her favorability, allowing him to earn more cash back from the system. Just then, his phone vibrated. A transfer notification popped up on the screen, account ending in 0098. Deposit, 119,400 yuan. Current balance, 120,200 yuan. Seeing his balance surge, Shen Yuan was ecstatic. A 39,800 yuan handbag yielded a cashback of 119,400 yuan, 3 times the amount. After deducting the cost, he had made nearly 80,000 yuan in profit. He had spent 80,000 yuan before, but this was the first time he had actually earned money. Making money on his own felt incredible. This was youth. This was victory. Just as he was basking in his excitement, Li Zhao's voice snapped him out of it. Shen Yuan, sit down and eat. What are you spacing out for? Shen Yuan glanced at the table. There were 2 sets of utensils. With a curious expression, he asked, Just the 2 of us? Miss Lee, where's your boyfriend? Li Xiao was momentarily startled, then let out a soft chuckle. Boyfriend? That's a problem I haven't figured out yet. Realizing the situation, Shen Yuan awkwardly said, Miss Lee, let me help you clean up. It'll just take a minute. However, before he could even move, a sudden voice called out, What do you think you're doing? Shen Yuan turned sharply, only to see Li Zhao's younger sister, Li Ming, standing at the doorway, eyes filled with hostility. Flustered, Shen Yuan quickly explained, "It's nothing." Meanwhile, Li Xiao noticed her sister had returned and smiled. "Why are you home so late today? Come eat." Turning to Shen Yuan, she introduced her. "This is my younger sister, Li Ming." Shen Yuan met her gaze, seeing the clear look of disdain in her eyes. Feeling uneasy, he quickly greeted her, "Hi." Li Ming responded coldly, "I feel sick." The awkwardness in the air was palpable. Sensing the tension, Shen Yuan quickly said, "Miss Li, I already ate before coming. I should head back to school. See you there." Li Xiao seemed a little confused. "But you were about to sit down. Why the sudden rush?" As soon as Shen Yuan left, Li Ming leaned in and whispered into her sister's ear, "Sis, do you even realize what's happening? That guy is totally after you. He's got ulterior motives." Li Xiao's face stiffened slightly. She quickly cut her off. "Don't be ridiculous. Shen Yuan is just my student. Now sit down and eat. Stop overthinking it." Back at school, Shen Yuan walked while deep in thought. Who should I spend money on next? Miss Li was a teacher, which meant he had to be careful. Besides, she didn't seem materialistic like Zhou wanting. Just as he was lost in thought, someone suddenly bumped into his shoulder. Turning around, he saw his roommate, Huang Haibao. Huang Haibao's hands were trembling as he held up his phone. In a hushed voice, he said, "Bro, oh my goddess, Fang Minhui. She just went to the movies with that hitman, Li Jianpeng." Fang Minhui. That's how Huang Haibao always referred to her. She was the flower of the international trade class and the girl he had been secretly in love with for a long time. They had never interacted before, not even spoken a word to each other. Hearing the news, Shen Yuan chuckled awkwardly. "Well, good luck with that." Huang Haibao looked confused. "Bro, what kind of reaction is that? Don't tell me you're laughing at me." Just then, the two of them suddenly saw Fang Minhui appear in front of them. Huang Haibao's eyes lit up with excitement. She just went to the movies with Li Jianpeng. "But Yuan bro, they didn't go to a hotel afterward. I'm so happy. That means I still have a chance, right?" Shen Yuan glanced at Huang Haibao, feeling a little exasperated. "You like a girl, but you act like her servant. Haibao, what exactly do you get out of this?" But at that moment, Shen Yuan's eyes suddenly widened and his heartbeat quickened. He gasped under his breath. "Damn, she has a number above her head too, and it's even higher than Miss Li's." As Fang Minhui walked by, her friend whispered to her, "Did you hear? Shen Yuan just got dumped by his girlfriend." Upon hearing that, Fang Minhui couldn't help but glance back at Shen Yuan. Her friend continued, "I never liked Shen Yuan. Remember back in freshman military training? I shouldn't have encouraged you to approach him or even bought him that drink. Rich kids all have bad tempers. They think they're superior just because their families have money. That's understandable. But if their family goes bankrupt and they're still that arrogant, who wouldn't dump them? Good thing you two never got together. Otherwise, that would have been 3 years of your life wasted." Shen Yuan suddenly noticed that Fang Minhui's favorability score toward him was dropping rapidly. He frowned. "I've finally come across a girl who already has some favorability toward me, and it's suddenly tanking? No way. I can't just sit back and let this happen." In a hurry, he grabbed Huang Haibao's shoulder and whispered, "Haibao, if I start dating Fang Minhui, would you mind?" Huang Haibao struck a pose he thought was his most attractive and smirked. "The problem is, you couldn't even get the campus bell when you were rolling in money. And now you think you can? But if you really want to know, no, I don't mind. As long as she doesn't end up with Li Jianpeng, she can date whoever she wants." Shen Yuan grinned, excitement surging in his chest. "That's what I was waiting to hear. I'm going after her." Before the words had fully left his mouth, he was already sprinting toward Fang Minhui. He shouted loudly, "Fang Minhui!" Fang Minhui and her friend both froze. Neither of them expected Shen Yuan to suddenly call out to her. Her friend quickly stepped in front of her, eyeing him cautiously. "Shen Yuan, what do you want?" Shen Yuan smiled, his tone relaxed. "Actually, I wanted to ask, are you free tomorrow? I reserved a table at Four Seasons Sushi. Would you like to join me for dinner?" Fang Minhui was taken aback by the sudden invitation. Her friend, however, was more skeptical about Shen Yuan's finances. "That Japanese restaurant starts at over 1,000 yuan per meal. Are you sure you can afford it?" Shen Yuan's smile remained steady as he spoke slowly. After dinner, let's take a walk. I have a small request. I'd like you to help me pick out a birthday gift for my little sister. If you're okay with it, just let me know by noon tomorrow. Before Fong Minhui could say anything, Shen Yuan simply smiled and said, I'll head out now. Let's talk tomorrow. Fong Minhui hesitated for a moment and asked, We just watched a movie with Li Jianpeng, and now I'm going to dinner with someone else? Is that really okay? However, her best friend thought differently. She grinned and said, Go for it. This isn't even a big deal. Besides, it's top-tier Japanese cuisine. Her best friend continued, Shen Yuan might be a bit materialistic, but at least he's handsome. Li Jianpeng? He's just rich. If Shen Yuan's family were still doing well, Li Jianpeng wouldn't even be a competition. Fong Minhui hesitated for a moment, but in the end, her friend's words convinced her. With a light smile, she said, All right, it's just dinner and a little shopping. It's not like I'm doing anything shady. I'll text it back later. And so, the next evening, the two of them met at the Japanese restaurant as planned. Before long, the waiter arrived, placing the premium two-person meal that Shen Yuan had ordered onto the table. After the waiter left, Fong Minhui looked at Shen Yuan and said, I heard your family has been going through some tough times recently. You really don't have to waste money like this. Shen Yuan gave a relaxed smile and responded, It's fine. This place serves amazing Japanese food, totally worth it. Observing Fong Minhui's natural expressions and slight shyness, a strange feeling surfaced in Shen Yuan. He reassured himself, Calm down. Stay cool. We haven't played cards together in 2 months. Don't get intimidated by her presence. Just stay calm, stay calm. Fong Minhui couldn't help but feel a little awkward. Shen Yuan's actions touched her, but she was also slightly suspicious. She asked, Did you really invite me to dinner just to help you pick a birthday gift for your sister? Yuan's eyes flickered as he looked directly at her and replied in a steady tone, Honestly, I wanted to ask you out for dinner for a while. I just never found the right opportunity. The moment those words left his mouth, Fong Minhui's favorability score took a sharp dive. Shen Yuan felt a jolt of panic. Was she unhappy with my answer? Why is her favorability suddenly dropping again? Determined to recover, he softened his voice and said sincerely, Back during military training, you used to buy me drinks and chat with me at night. I've always kept those memories close to my heart. Fong Minhui's eyes flashed with surprise. Then she smiled slightly. I'm surprised you actually remember that. Shen Yuan chuckled and scratched his head. How could I forget? The atmosphere between them subtly shifted. Shen Yuan kept reminding himself, Stay calm. Stay calm. An hour later, Shen Yuan paid the bill and left. The meal had cost him 2,700 yuan. Fong Minhui felt a bit touched. That meal cost nearly her entire month's living expenses. By contrast, even though Li Jianping came from a wealthy family, he acted like a total cheapskate during their movie date, saying, We can just eat at the school cafeteria, and didn't even dare to take her to a proper restaurant. At that moment, Shen Yuan's phone suddenly buzzed. A text notification popped up. 8,322 yuan has been deposited into your account, ending in 0098. New balance, 125,778 yuan. A second text followed immediately after. Deposit, 5,578 yuan. Current balance, 131,356 yuan. System notification, time-limited mission. Spend money on a female with a favorability score over 60 and increase her affection. Mission reward. The amount spent will be refunded at a 3x rate. If favorability increases by 3 points, the refund will be doubled. Watching his balance rise, Shen Yuan could barely contain his excitement. Glancing at Fong Minhui's favorability score, he saw it had increased from 72 to 76. He smirked to himself. So that's how it works. Making 10,000 yuan from just one meal. Now that's satisfying. The more Fong Minhui looked at Shen Yuan, the more pleasing he seemed to her eyes. She couldn't help but think to herself, so this is what they call the charm of money. She instinctively grabbed Shen Yuan's arm and smiled. Come on, let's go. We still need to pick out a gift for your sister at the International Finance Center. However, just as they reached the entrance, Shen Yuan ran into his ex-girlfriend, Zhou Wanting, and her uncle. Zhou Wanning's first reaction was confusion. Why is he here? They had just broken up yesterday, and today, he was already out shopping with another woman? The older man beside her gave Shen Yuan a disdainful glance and scoffed. Pathetic. What's a broke student like you doing in a place like this? The uncle was fuming inside. I spent a fortune on luxury handbags for Zhou Wanning, and now this broke kid dares to shop here with another woman? A bankrupt, debt-ridden student. How the hell does he have a girl by his side? Shen Yuan lowered his voice and said to Fong Minhui, "Let's check out another store instead." Seeing this, the older man smirked. "Since you're already at the entrance, why not come inside and take a look? It's free after all." Not wanting to back down, Zhou Wanning sneered. "What are you even doing here? And who is she?" Shen Yuan smiled faintly and replied, "What a coincidence. I'm here to shop for a gift for my sister." The older man let out a mocking laugh. "Wow, shopping here for a gift? You think you can actually afford anything?" Zhou Wanning leaned in close to Fong Minhui, speaking in a deliberately malicious tone. "Miss, I don't know you, but let me give you a word of advice. Don't let yourself get played by guys like him." Shen Yuan's eyes turned icy. He immediately pulled Fong Minhui behind him and snapped coldly, "None of your business." "Played? Who have I played? You? Did I play you?" The older man smirked and continued his ruthless taunts. "Shen Yuan, that's no way to speak to Wanting. A real man should have class. Besides, Wanting is your ex. We all know about your family situation. You're bankrupt and buried in debt. There's no need to pretend you're rich. No one's going to laugh at you." Shen Yuan didn't bother replying, but deep down, his disgust for these two had reached its peak. They really are a perfect match. Absolutely revolting. Just then, a system notification sounded. A perfect life should never be belittled by others. Immediately after, a new limited-time mission appeared. Mission: spend money on a female with a favorability score above 60 while causing negative emotional reactions in others. Reward: for every 5 points of negative emotion generated due to the host will receive double the cashback amount. Note: this mission can be stacked with the regular cashback bonus for spending on females. A smirk appeared on Shen Yuan's face. He quickly checked Zhou Wanning's and the older man's favorability scores. Both were in the negatives. He thought to himself, "I was planning to let this slide. I didn't want to cause a scene in public. But you two just had to push it. Since the system has given me a mission, I see no reason to hold back anymore." Without hesitation, Shen Yuan took Fong Minhui's hand and confidently walked in his store, his mind set on his next move. However, the store clerk, having heard about Shen Yuan's family's bankruptcy, was visibly reluctant to serve him. Meanwhile, Zhou Wanning picked out a handbag and casually walked over to the older man. "We can check out now." A sales associate quickly approached Zhou Wanting, eager to serve her, and turned to another associate, saying, "You go assist Mr. Shen." But in her mind, she thought, of course, the high-spending VIP customer goes to you, while I get stuck with the one who probably won't buy anything. A short-haired female sales associate walked over carrying a box. "Miss Zhou, you have such impeccable taste. These accessories complement your elegance perfectly, unlike some customers who clearly have none." 163. She continued, "These accessories also pair beautifully with the handbag you just picked. Would you like to try them on? They look stunning, though they are a bit pricey. Altogether, they come in nearly 100,000 yuan." Meanwhile, Shen Yuan and Fong Minhui were browsing through some items. Fong Minhui figured her sister would probably like one of the handbags. The sales associate assisting them glanced at Shen Yuan with a cold expression and said flatly, "These two handbags total 50,000 yuan. Her tone made it clear. She didn't believe he could afford them. Nearby, the uncle looked at Zhou Wanting, realizing that her selections added up to 100,000 yuan. His blood instantly boiled. 100,000 yuan? What a wasteful woman. I thought I could get away with just 20,000 a day, but she's expecting a full 100,000. Zhou Wanting impatiently urged her boyfriend to step up and act like a man, but deep down, he knew. His bank account didn't even have 100,000 yuan in it. Just then, Shen Yuan turned to the sales associate and said, "Miss, I'll take these 2 handbags and the accessories that lady recommended. His words left everyone around him stunned. What? The sales associate thought. He's getting the accessories too? Does he even have the money for this? Despite her doubts, she grabbed a calculator, her fingers trembling as she tallied the price. Mr. Shen, the total for the handbags and accessories comes to 131,000 yuan. Shen Yuan's mind raced. Perfect. That's just the right amount to round off my earnings after dinner. Without hesitation, he pulled out his bank card, ready to complete the payment. The sales associate was still processing everything. He didn't just buy 2 handbags, he got the accessories too. Over 130,000 yuan in one go. She never expected that Shen Yuan would be even more extravagant and domineering than before. Zhou Wanting was livid. She stomped her foot in frustration and demanded loudly, Shen Yuan, didn't your family go bankrupt? Where did you get all this money? You didn't take out a loan, did you? Shen Yuan smirked and replied casually, think whatever you like. Besides, it's not like you're short on money. Why not have your man buy you another handbag? It's just a few thousand yuan. Not a big deal for him, right? He continued mercilessly, his tone dripping with mockery. A true gentleman isn't just charming. He should also be generous. Your Audi A8 is worth at least 600,000 to 700,000 yuan. Are you really sweating over pocket change? Zhou Wanting immediately grabbed her boyfriend's arm, whispering angrily, June, step up and be a man. Don't let him. But panic surged in the man's chest. Shit, my 8 was bought on credit. I can't let Ting Ting find out. Feigning a phone call, he quickly turned away, looking for an excuse to escape. Seeing him rush off, Zhou Wanting's expression turned icy. She threw one last glare at Shen Yuan and snapped, mind your own damn business. Then, she spun around and left. As the two disappeared, Shen Yuan noticed that their favorability scores had dropped even further. It was clear he had successfully triggered their negative emotions, fulfilling the system's mission. A wave of indifference washed over him. Whatever. I don't need to waste another thought on them. As long as the mission is complete, that's all that matters. Shen Yuan handed the newly purchased handbag to Fong Minhui. Startled, she quickly waved her hands, refusing. It's too expensive. I can't accept it. Shen Yuan chuckled. It's nothing, just a handbag. After being mocked and humiliated by those two for so long, I feel a little bad. Please take it as an apology. Come on, just accept it. The next second, he handed her the other handbag along with the accessories. Fong Minhui was stunned. Wait, wasn't this the one Shen Yuan said was for his sister? Shen Yuan smiled lightly. I'm not sure if my sister would like it, but at least I know you will. In reality, his thoughts were quite different. Are you kidding me? If I actually gave this to Shen Xian, that little brat would scold me for wasting money and then rat me out to my parents. I always planned to buy these for you. Just take them so I can get my cash back. Fong Minhui felt a little anxious, worried that Shen Yuan might think she was a gold digger. But Shen Yuan simply smiled and reassured her, relax, this is just the beginning. We still have a long way to go. Just take it. If you refuse, I'll be really hurt. Suddenly, a system notification popped up. Host has completed the time-limited mission. Negative emotion points. -15. Triple cashback credited. Bonus for female, spending activated. Total reward, 6x cashback, amounting to 786,000 yuan. Shen Yuan smirked inwardly. Fong Minhui is my personal money tree now. I need to maintain her favorability well. I can't let my previous mistake happen again. Although he was tempted to cash in immediately, he knew that these things couldn't be rushed. Patience was key. Letting things flow naturally was the better approach. So, he decided to take Fong Minhui straight back to campus. On the way, Fong Minhui sighed to herself. He really is different from Li Zhanpeng. He didn't even suggest going to a hotel. If he had, I honestly don't know what I would have done. Back at the dorm, Shen Yuan saw Li Zhanpeng surrounded by a group of guys. He was basking in their admiration, proudly bragging about how he had won over the campus beauty. The group of guys worshipped him, as if celebrating his grand victory. As Shen Yuan walked by, Li Zhanpeng deliberately raised his voice and announced, we should have a full class gathering soon. A dinner together, it'll be fun. Everyone should come. Back in the dorm, his roommates were fuming. Did you hear that? That bastard Li Jianpeng can't wait to broadcast to the whole school that he went to the movies with the campus beauty. He's clearly taking a shot at our dorm, room 503. But Shen Yuan simply smiled with confidence. Relax. There's no way Fang Minhui would ever date Li Jianping. His roommates didn't believe him. They scoffed, oh come on. Stop bluffing, idiot. Didn't Fang Minhui literally go to the movies with Li Jianping last night? Who knows what else they did? Didn't she reject your date invitation today? Looks like she's really with him now. Ignoring their comments, Shen Yuan glanced at his bank account balance. It was stacked. It's time to go home. The next day, Shen Yuan returned home, only to find his uncle there as well. His father looked at him, smiling. Go inside and wait for a bit. We adults need to talk. Standing outside, Shen Yuan overheard that his uncle was here to collect a debt and that the full amount had to be repaid within 2 days. His mother, clearly displeased, snapped back. Shen Yaoda, how could you? When you didn't have the money to start your car wash business, who lent you 300,000 yuan? And after you borrowed it, did we ever pressure you to pay it back? But now, we lend you just 200,000 yuan, and you keep coming back to demand more. What's the meaning of this? His father sighed helplessly and tried to smooth things over. Let's not make a scene. He's got his own struggles. But his mother scoffed coldly. Struggles? Does he not know our current situation? I even asked his daughter-in-law. There's no financial trouble on their end at all. The so-called uncle waved his hand impatiently. Paying back debts is the natural order of things. Lucky for you, we're family, so I'm being civil about it. If it were someone else, you'd be dealing with real debt collectors by now. His mother exploded in anger. Debt collectors? Unbelievable. The Shen family really has no sense of gratitude. We treated him so well in the past, and now look at what he's become. Shen Yuan's father tried to offer a solution. Why don't you sell some of your gold jewelry? We can always buy it back later when we have the money. At that moment, a system notification popped up. A perfect life should not be burdened by debt. Limited time mission. Repay a debt for your family or yourself. First-time repayment of 200,000 yuan will unlock a 1 million yuan exclusive spending limit for purchasing a car. Shen Yuan sighed. Perfect timing, system. Even though the mission had been issued, he still wanted to help ease his parents' burden. Before long, his mother brought out a wooden box. She had been reluctant to sell her gold jewelry for years, but now it was worth tens of thousands. However, as she went through the items, she suddenly realized 2 gold rings were missing. Hearing this, Shen Yuan felt a pang of guilt. Back in my freshman year, I stole those 2 rings to buy a handbag for Zhou wanting. Dad, Mom, I struck it rich. Without another word, Shen Yuan stepped outside. His parents exchanged glances, thinking he was joking. With the little money you have, you'd be better off reloading your meal card. Shen Yuan didn't explain. He simply transferred 200,000 yuan to his father's account. The moment his father checked his phone, his eyes widened in shock. Son, where did you get all this money? Shen Yuan grinned and casually explained, remember all the allowance you used to give me? I pulled some of it with a friend and invested in Bitcoin. He told me not to touch it, said there was still a lot of room for growth. I only cashed it out in the last couple of days. His mother was moved and praised him emotionally. Son, you really pulled our family out of this mess. His father nodded firmly. I'll go pay him back right now and get rid of this headache. Once the debt was settled, his mother turned to the uncle and said icily, the money's been sent. Now get lost. From now on, let's keep our families out of each other's business. The uncle was stunned, clearly not expecting them to actually pay up. But Shen Yuan's mother had no patience left. Are you deaf? I said get out. Now, after being kicked out, the uncle started to feel a pang of regret. My cousin owed nearly 100 million yuan. As time passed, he became more and more desperate for money. I wanted to collect as much as possible while I still could, but now he suddenly paid off the debt in one go. Did his family suddenly start a business? If they're making money now, doesn't that mean he's about to get rich? After today's events, will we even be able to maintain a relationship? Damn, this is annoying. Why did I even come here? System notification. Host has completed the mission. Reward granted. 40,000 yuan has been deposited into your bank account, followed by an additional 1 million yuan. Current balance, 2,186,356 yuan. Aside from the funds designated for purchasing a car, Shen Yuan's net worth had now exceeded 1 million yuan. Who would have thought? This trip home not only solved his parents' immediate crisis, but also brought in such a massive gain. However, it was still far from enough to completely settle his family's debts. Shen Yuan understood that if he truly wanted to clear his family's debt, he would need a lot more money. 1 million is just the beginning. The best strategy is to use this principle to generate even more wealth. After some calculations, he realized he could spare a maximum of 200,000 yuan for his father. So he asked, "I have another 200,000 yuan. Do you urgently need it?" His mother thought for a moment and decided it would be better to save it for now, since there weren't any immediate debts to pay off. However, his father hesitated awkwardly before saying, "Shen Yuan, just give me 50,000 for now." Shen Yuan chuckled. "All right, no problem." But deep down, he let out a sigh. "This feels just like when I used to ask my dad for money." Guess this habit really runs in the family. Back at school, Shen Yuan ran into Li Xiao in the stairwell. Li Xiao mentioned that she didn't have any afternoon classes, so she had come back early. Shen Yuan casually asked, "Are you free tonight? I'd like to treat you to dinner. Last time, you treated me, so I owe you one." But the next second, he caught sight of Li Ming's icy expression. It suddenly hit him. Li Zhao's little sister, Li Ming, was practically his nemesis. There's no way I can deal with her. Feeling awkward, Shen Yuan quickly backtracked. Actually, counselor, I just remembered. I have something to take care of back at school. I might not be free tonight. Let's do it another time. I'll be heading off now." Watching Shen Yuan hastily leave, Li Ming immediately said, "Something's definitely up with him." Li Xiao sighed helplessly. "It's probably just dinner. Besides, even if he did have other motives, I wouldn't agree to anything." As Shen Yuan walked out of the dorm, he muttered to himself, "Damn, it's hot today." This reminded Shen Yuan of the days when he used to go on joyrides with Zhou Wanting. The cool breeze rushing past, it was such a comfortable and carefree feeling. Suddenly, he remembered that he had a special fund designated for buying a car. If I don't use this money, it'd be a waste of the system's generosity. With that thought, he sent a message to Fong Minhui. "Let's go check out some cars this afternoon." Fong Minhui's roommate immediately teased her. "Oh, going car shopping together? You two are moving fast. Are you even coming back to the dorm tonight? Spill the details, spill the details." Feeling embarrassed, Fong Minhui quickly denied it. "We're not together. Don't say stuff like that." Her roommate kept up the teasing. "Our dear Minhui is so lucky, finding such a rich future husband. And he's even handsome. She's totally going to milk this guy for all he's worth." Then, with a sudden playful move, she hugged Fong Minhui from behind. Fong Minhui's face instantly turned red as she shyly protested. An hour later, the two arrived at a leading 4S car dealership. As soon as a salesperson approached, he immediately recognized Fong Minhui. And at the same time, Fong Minhui also recognized him. It was Qin Yang, an upperclassman from high school who used to pursue her. Shen Yuan pointed to the nearby M9 and expressed interest in learning more about the model. Qin Yang smiled at Shen Yuan and said, "The display car is over there. You can check it out or even sit inside." But in his mind, he scoffed. The base model of the M9 starts at 500,000 yuan. The version on display is at least 600,000. Look at this guy, dressed so casually. Broke is broke. What's the point of bringing a girl to a 4S dealership just to show off? His gaze unconsciously drifted to Fong Minhui. She's still just as beautiful as ever. No wonder she was my high school crush. But now, he wasn't just some ordinary guy making 3,000 yuan a month. He was earning over 10,000 a month, driving a 200,000 yuan Accord, and working as a sales rep at a premium dealership. Women are realistic. Guys like me, successful and stable, are their first choice now. He stepped closer to Fong Minhui and spoke softly. "Are you free tonight? Let's catch up over dinner." Fong Minhui frowned slightly and declined without hesitation. Thanks, but I have plans tonight. Just then, as Shen Yuan was about to get into the car, he spoke up. Can I take it for a test drive? Qin Yang's mood soured instantly. I was having a great conversation with Min Hui, and this guy just had to interrupt. You can't even afford the car, and you still want to test drive? Stop wasting my time. With a cold expression, he flatly replied, the test drive vehicle has already been taken by the boss. Shen Yuan smirked inwardly. Do I look like a newbie? The moment I stepped in, I saw the M9 right there. If you want to arrange a test drive, I'll just find someone else who will. Without another word, Shen Yuan turned to the front desk and said, could you please arrange for another salesperson? I'd like to test drive the car. Chen Na walked over with a warm smile. Hello, I'm Chen Na, a sales consultant here. How can I assist you today? Just then, another sales consultant approached Qin Yang, looking puzzled. Qin Yang, isn't that your client? Why did you let Chen Na take over? Qin Yang sneered. I couldn't be bothered. Let Chen Na waste her time. Some broke student says he wants to buy an M9 and even test drive it. Do you think that's even possible? The other consultant raised an eyebrow. But what if he actually buys it? Qin Yang scoffed. Buy it for what? Some poor kid showing off in front of a girl. I've seen plenty of guys like him. Chen Na sat in the passenger seat, patiently explaining the various features and benefits of the car to Shen Yuan. However, Shen Yuan found his thoughts drifting toward Chen Na herself. Her professionalism was impressive, and her figure wasn't any less attractive than Fong Minhui's. He couldn't help but think, isn't it common in the auto industry these days? Haven't there been countless news reports about female sales reps going the extra mile to close deals? Chen Na smiled and asked, Sir, may I ask what your budget is? Shen Yuan responded calmly. Do you have one in stock? I want to drive it home today. Chen Na was visibly surprised. Most customers hesitate, inspect the car multiple times, and haggle before making a decision. But this guy, one test drive, and he's ready to place an order? He hasn't even asked about the price. Isn't this a bit too hasty? And if he's serious about buying, why did Qin Yang just let him go? She quickly checked the inventory and told Shen Yuan, we don't have any in stock at the moment, but we can arrange one within a week. Shen Yuan, however, was direct. I want to place the order today. Chen Na's thoughts raced. The out-the-door price is over 600,000 yuan. He just said he's buying it outright. Is this what they call a dream customer? Or does he have some ulterior motive? Nonetheless, she maintained her professionalism. Please hold on while I prepare the contract. The deposit is 50,000 yuan. Qin Yang, still in disbelief, stared at Chen Na and asked, Chen Na, what's the deal with that guy? Chen Na sat down at her desk and replied flatly, he bought it. Qin Yang still refused to believe it and let out a mocking laugh. That guy is just pretending to be rich. When it's time to pay, he'll come up with an excuse and disappear. We've had plenty of guys like him in this store. Another consultant chimed in. In all my years here, I've never seen a customer this carefree about making a purchase. Chen Na remained expressionless. Mr. Shen didn't just buy it. He's paying in full. That statement left both men speechless. Their faces stiffened in disbelief. Damn, we really screwed up. We just let a big sale walk right past us. After signing the contract, Chen Na smiled politely and asked, Mr. Shen, if you have any questions in the future, feel free to contact us. Do you need a ride anywhere? Before Shen Yuan could respond, Fong Minhui quickly pulled him aside and declined for him. No need, we'll take a taxi. Chen Na suddenly felt a bit awkward. She realized she might have been a little too accommodating towards Shen Yuan, which had clearly annoyed Fong Minhui. Shen Yuan glanced at Fong Minhui. Oh, she's jealous. He smirked and said, Minhui, let's go get some dinner. Fong Minhui responded flatly. Oh, Shen Yuan chuckled and explained, she's just a salesperson, and I'm just a customer. That's all. Fong Minhui wasn't entirely convinced. I saw how happy you were chatting with her, and you spent quite a while scrolling through her social media. Shen Yuan waved his hand dismissively. It's just a habit. Every time I add a new friend, I can't help but check out their profile. A sudden, unfamiliar feeling surged through Fong Minhui's chest, jealousy. She realized she was actually bothered by Shen Yuan interacting with another girl. But why? We're not even in a relationship. So why am I feeling this way? Looking at how freely he spent money, she understood. Shen Yuan would naturally attract other women. She needed to find a way to keep him by her side. Sensing the shift in atmosphere, Shen Yuan quickly changed the subject. Let's eat first. After dinner, we'll head to IFC to pick out your gift. Fang Minhui hesitated. He's always the one paying. I don't want to seem too materialistic. But Shen Yuan simply laughed. It's normal for a girl to have multiple handbags. 7 days in a week, 7 different bags, one for each day. In truth, his thoughts were much simpler. Spending money on women not only makes them happy, but also gives me triple cash back. The more I buy, the more I earn. It's the smartest investment I can make. A few minutes later, at the restaurant, Shen Yuan deliberately asked, Minhui, do you want a cold drink or a hot one? Fang Minhui immediately caught his implication. Her face turned red as she shyly replied, cold drink. Shen Yuan suddenly felt a bit awkward. He realized it had been 2 months since he was last with Zhou Wanting. Honestly, I really need to spend some money. 3 hours later, the night had fallen. At the mall, Shen Yuan and Fang Minhui had picked out various luxury items, bracelets, handbags, and watches, spending over 80,000 yuan in total. Yet, his bank balance still stood at 2.25 million yuan. As they stepped out of the mall, Shen Yuan suddenly turned to her and said, Minhui, let's not go back to the dorm tonight, okay? Hearing this, Fang Minhui's face flushed like a ripe apple. After a moment of hesitation, she shyly nodded. 30 minutes later, in room 808 of the Grand Lux Hotel, Shen Yuan was in the shower. Meanwhile, Fang Minhui sat on the bed, clutching her phone tightly, debating how to reply to her best friend's messages. Her friend had asked why she hadn't returned to the dorm yet. She made up an excuse. Something came up. I'll be out for a while. But in reality, her thoughts were much simpler. Sorry, Lingling. Shen Yuan has given me so much, it's hard to say no. Half an hour later, Fang Minhui thought to herself, Chenling was right, this wasn't nearly as scary as I imagined. Shen Yuan hadn't expected Fang Minhui to be so. It felt amazing, but damn, he was exhausted. Looks like I really need to work out more. Before Shen Yuan even had a chance to rest, Fang Minhui leaned in again, taking the initiative. Seeing this, Shen Yuan suddenly panicked. Damn, this is getting out of hand. The next day, Shen Yuan returned to his dorm feeling completely refreshed. He figured the system's missions wouldn't just help him clear his debts. They'd also keep giving him cashback rewards. Right now, he owed a total of 52,000 yuan across multiple loan apps and credit cards. Paying that off would be his first step. Then there was the 100,000 yuan he still owed Li Yuhang. Back when his family went bankrupt, most of his so-called friends gradually disappeared. But Li Yuhang, he never said a word, just lent him the money on the spot. As Shen Yuan entered the dorm, one of his roommates was brushing his teeth and teasing him. Hey, third bro, where were you last night? Did you check the class group chat? There's a gathering tonight. Are you coming? Li Zhanpeng ordered a new car and is making a huge deal out of it. I wouldn't be surprised if the counselor helped him arrange everything. What a show-off. If you're not going, though, your 200 yuan class fee will go to waste. Shen Yuan replied indifferently, not going. At that moment, his phone buzzed with a message from Li Yuhang. Long time no see. Come grab dinner and hit the bar tonight. Let's chill. Meanwhile, the system issued a new mission. Host has been granted a 1 million yuan exclusive investment fund. The full amount must be invested within a week. Mission reward. Any revenue generated from business activities will be returned at double the amount. Shen Yuan's heart skipped a beat. A business-focused mission? This is exactly what I need. I have a lot of money sitting around. I need to find a good investment. Li Yuhang's bar is still under renovation. Maybe I should invest some money and test the waters? Without hesitation, he replied to Li Yuhang. I'm on my way. Inside the Chenglong private dining room at Nanjing restaurant, Lin Guangyao impatiently complained. Li, who are we waiting for? I'm starving. 2 others chimed in. Yeah, aren't all the important people already here? Li Yuhang responded casually. Relax. If you're hungry, order some appetizers. Shen Yuan's almost here. Lin Guangyao frowned. Shen Yuan? Wasn't he bankrupt? Why is he still hanging out with us? Li Yuhang's expression darkened slightly. I'm the one treating tonight, not you. If you don't like it, feel free to leave. Shen Yuan and I have been childhood friends for years. This is different. Soon, the door to the private dining room swung open, and Shen Yuan stepped inside. He explained, I took a taxi, but the driver went the long way. Probably traffic. Lin Guangyao smirked and sneered. A taxi? Look at us. Who here didn't drive their luxury car? You taking a taxi isn't the problem. The real question is, do you already have a personal driver? Before Shen Yuan could respond, the door opened again. This time it was Chun Na. Xia Haijia immediately stood up with a grin. Guys, this is my girlfriend, Chen Na. She's even better than a regular 4S dealership sales rep. If any of you need to buy a car, talk to her. Chen Na's eyes landed on Shen Yuan instantly. She recognized him right away. However, noticing that he didn't greet her first, she decided to play along, pretending they were meeting for the first time. 40 minutes later, Li Yuhang set down his chopsticks, stood up, and said, All right, now that we've all had our fill, let me say a few words. I've been working on setting up a lounge bar, and I want to do it right. Everyone here is a close friend of mine, so I'm giving you all a chance. Who's interested in investing and making some money together? He paused for a moment before continuing. The estimated startup cost is 2.4 million. I'm willing to give up 30% equity, roughly a 700,000 yuan investment. What do you guys think? The room fell silent. Lin Guangyao thought to himself, the Li family makes millions in profit every year. Why would he need others to invest just for a mere 700,000 yuan? His dad must have stopped funding him after his previous failed investments. Xia Haijia calculated in his head. 700,000? I need 2 years just to save that up. Meanwhile, Zhao Zhonggang frowned. We came here just to eat and drink. Why are we suddenly talking about investments? Li Yuhang usually isn't this direct about money. The rest of the group kept their heads down, deep in thought. Whoever speaks first is the fool. Best to just stay quiet. Seeing no one respond, frustration flared in Li Yuhang's heart. These guys have no problem eating and drinking on my dime. They ask me for favors, borrow money without hesitation, but when I need their support, they all go dead silent. Shen Yuan is broke, so I get it. But the rest of them? Feeling disappointed, he spoke coldly. What's wrong? Cat got you tongues? At least say something. Lin Guangyao finally spoke up. Li, I think it's too early for investments right now. If it's just a cash flow issue, we could all chip in a few grand to get things running. You could just pay us back later once the business makes a profit. Xia Haijia nodded in agreement. Exactly. Jumping in as investors wouldn't be fair to you. This way, you won't feel like you're losing out if you make money later. Right, guys? Although the others remained silent, they all had the same thought. Li Yuhang's track record in business is a disaster. His hot pot restaurant and KTV flopped spectacularly. And now he's opening a lounge bar? Might as well just throw money into the ocean. We all still rely on our families. Our allowances barely cover our expenses. Li Yuhang clenched his jaw. I was offering a legitimate investment opportunity, a way to make real money together. But now, they're treating it like I'm begging for a loan? And Lin Guangyao, he twisted my words on purpose. His expression darkened as he put down his drink. Forget it. If no one's interested, let's just drop it. Lin Guangyao laughed. That's the right attitude, Li. Investments and partnerships? Way too complicated. Let's just eat, drink, and have fun. Shen Yuan watched silently, thinking to himself, I saw through these guys when my family went bankrupt. Why haven't you, Li Yuhang? They're just a bunch of spoiled, rich kids living off their families. What makes you think they'd ever support you? Just as Li Yuhang was about to leave, Shen Yuan suddenly spoke. I'll invest the 700,000. The room went dead silent. Li Yuhang stopped mid-step and turned around, looking at Shen Yuan with surprise. Lin Guangyao couldn't help but burst into laughter. That's got to be a joke, right? Come on, we all know each other. Zhao Zhonggang patted Shen Yuan's shoulder and chuckled. Maybe go splash some water on your face? Li's not in the mood for jokes right now. Xia Haijia smirked and added, Kid, I'm a few years older than you, and I've seen a lot. This isn't about knowing your limits. It's about knowing when to shut up. Lin Guangyao piled on with a mocking grin. Yeah, Shen Yuan. Do you even remember how you got here? Need me to reimburse you for that taxi ride? Chen Na's thoughts spun, huh? Mr. Shen is investing in a 30% stake. Why does everyone think he's bluffing? Just yesterday, he bought a 600,000 yuan car in full. With that kind of financial power, investing 700,000 yuan isn't surprising at all. She wanted to say something in Shen Yuan's defense, but hesitated. I'm an outsider. If I jump in now, will it just cause unnecessary trouble? What should I do? But Shen Yuan ignored the mocking laughter and said directly to Li Yuhang, the 700,000 has been transferred. Check your phone. A notification dinged on Li Yuhang's phone. He opened it, and sure enough, there it was. A transfer of 700,000 yuan. Without a word, he turned his screen to show Lin Guangyao. Lin Guangyao froze, staring at the numbers, carefully counting each digit. That it really was 700,000. Chen Na, still debating whether to speak up, suddenly noticed the entire atmosphere in the room had shifted. Lin Guangyao's expression soured. He muttered under his breath. Something came up at home. I have to go. Xia Haijia was caught off guard. What? You're leaving? Irritated, Lin Guangyao snapped. Don't ask. Just go. Your uncle and aunt are looking for you. Xia Haijia was even more confused. Why parents never called me? What family emergency is he talking about? Lin Guangyao shot him an annoyed glare. Useless cousin. No sense of timing. His thoughts then shifted to Shen Yuan. That if he's so rich, why the hell did he take a taxi? What a damn show-off. And now, he's stolen all the attention tonight. One by one, the others in the room gathered around to look at Li Yuhang's transaction history. After seeing it for themselves, they quickly made up excuses and left. Within moments, 3 more people had exited the room. Still baffled, Xia Haijia turned to Chen Na, who whispered to him, they're leaving. You should too. Once outside, Xia Haijia asked, how do you know what they just saw? Chen Na replied casually, yesterday, Shen Yuan bought an M9 from me. Paid in full. Xia Haijia immediately grabbed her arm. Wait, seriously? Chen Na nodded. Of course. I still have the purchase contract on my phone. Xia Haijia's tone turned serious. Nah, come on. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You meet a guy this rich, and you don't give me a heads up? That's just not cool. Next time, you gotta let me know. Chen Na yanked her hand away and shot him a cold glare. Next time? Xia Haijia, I just realized what kind of person you are today. I must have been blind to think you were worth my time. From now on, don't contact me again. Back inside, only Shen Yuan and Li Yuhang remained. Li Yuhang sighed and grumbled. If I had known you were this rich, I wouldn't have wasted money on dinner tonight. Shen Yuan smirked. Well, now you know. None of those guys are reliable. They're fine for partying, but when it comes to real business, they'll never step up. After a brief pause, Shen Yuan leaned forward. Tell me about your lounge bar plan. I may only be a small shareholder, but I want to be involved in the planning. For the next half hour, Shen Yuan and Li Yuhang delved deep into discussions about renovation styles and business strategies. Li Yuhang couldn't help but be impressed. Shen Yuan's university education clearly hadn't gone to waste. Watching how smoothly he navigated commercial concepts with effortless confidence was truly eye-opening. But Shen Yuan brushed it off casually. It's just a bit of business intuition. But you know me, I don't have the time to oversee the shop every day. We need to find a reliable manager to handle operations. Not long after, Shen Yuan received a message from Chen Na, confirming that he could visit the 4S dealership on Friday to finalize payment and pick up his car. He immediately replied, are you free tomorrow night? I have a few questions about the car that I'd like to ask you in person. Staring at her phone screen, Chen Na frowned slightly. What is Shen Yuan really up to? Meanwhile, Shen Yuan's mind was racing through various calculations. Fang Minhui is a steady money source, but there's a limit to how much cashback she can generate. I need to find ways to expand my revenue. After all, I have to maximize the system's benefits. And then there's Chen Na, stunning looks, an incredible figure. A top-tier beauty like her is worth spending money on. How could I possibly pass this up? The next day, Chen Na arrived at the designated restaurant right on time for her meeting with Shen Yuan. At that moment, For S dealership general manager Zhang Xianyong entered the restaurant. His sharp eyes immediately caught sight of Chun Na sitting in the corner. A smirk crept across his face. Well, what a pleasant surprise. She's here in uniform? I never get a chance to talk to her properly at the dealership, but today is my chance. He subtly signaled to the two men behind him, and they quickly got the message, excusing themselves and leaving. As they walked out, they whispered among themselves. You think the boss will score with Chen Na? Their conversation didn't go unnoticed. Nearby, Xia Haijia overheard them. A scowl formed on his face, anger bubbling beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Zhang Xianyong, brimming with confidence, strutted over to Chen Na with a teasing grin. Well, what a coincidence, Chen Na. Didn't expect to see you here. Dining alone. Mind if I join you? Chen Na remained composed, responding coolly. Sorry, I already have plans with someone. But Zhang Xianyong wasn't deterred. He chuckled, dismissing her words as if they meant nothing. Come on, Chen Na. I'm your boss. Having a meal with a friend is no big deal. Why not sit with me instead? Chen Na finally lifted her head, her gaze turning icy. Please keep your distance, Mr. Zhang. You have a family. This kind of behavior is inappropriate. But Zhang Xianyong merely smirked, completely unfazed. Without hesitation, he dropped himself into the seat next to her and squinted playfully. You mind that I have a family? That's easy. I can just get a divorce. Meanwhile, Xia Haijia, having finally tracked Chen Na down, was seething with rage. She dumped me for this sleazeball? Why? I make 400 to 500K a year. I drive a car worth over 300,000 yuan. And yet she thinks I'm not good enough compared to this fat pig? Consumed by fury, Xia Haijia stormed over and roared, You two disgusting cheaters, sneaking around behind my back. Do you think I'm easy to fool? Both Zhang Xianyong and Chen Na were caught off guard, stunned by the sudden accusation. Frowning, Zhang asked, Who the hell are you? But Xia Haijia had lost all patience. With a shout, he swung his fist straight at Zhang Xianyong. Chaos erupted instantly as the two men descended into a full-blown brawl. Just then, Shen Yuan stepped into the restaurant. Watching the absurd scene unfold before him, he couldn't help but smirk. Well, now this is breaking news, and I just so happen to be the lucky witness to the drama. Caught in the middle of this chaotic brawl, Shen Yuan thought to himself, if it weren't for that fat idiot taking the hit for me, I'd be the one lying on the ground right now. Without hesitation, he grabbed Chen Na's hand and spoke firmly. Miss Chun, let's go. Don't waste your time with these people. We have better things to do. Inside the car, a silence settled between them. Then, in a low voice, Chen Na admitted, Actually, I already broke up with Xia Haijia. Shen Yuan nodded slightly. Good. Better to see his true colors sooner rather than later. It's over now, nothing to worry about. But Chen Na still looked troubled. It's not over. The one who got punched, Zhang Xianyong, is my boss. Now that he's taken a hit for nothing, who knows how he'll retaliate against me? Shen Yuan raised an eyebrow and responded calmly. Then quit. Get out of that place before it drags you into more trouble. Shen Na sighed and shook her head. It's not that easy to find a new job. Switching dealerships means starting from scratch, and all the clients and experience I've built up over the years will be wasted. She let out a soft sigh, her voice tinged with exhaustion. Honestly, I've been in sales for so long, it's exhausting. I'd love to switch industries, open a small cafe, work when I feel like it, close when I don't. That kind of freedom sounds amazing. But a decent cafe costs at least 300,000 to 400,000 yuan. At my current savings rate, who knows how long it'll take? Shen Yuan's mind lit up. After setting aside 700,000 for Liu Hang's bar, I still have 300,000 left in my exclusive investment fund. His eyes sparkled as he turned to Chen Na. You want to open a cafe? If you don't have enough money, that's fine. But what if someone was willing to invest in you? Chen Na chuckled and playfully patted Shen Yuan's shoulder, clearly thinking he was joking. If I actually had an investor, I'd quit my job tomorrow and work for him. No hesitation. But Shen Yuan's expression remained serious. He looked straight at her and said, All right, then quit your job tomorrow. I'll invest 300,000 to open your cafe, and once it's up and running, You work for me. Shen Na froze for a moment, a flicker of hesitation crossing her eyes. Is he serious? Meanwhile, Shen Yuan was secretly amused. Just moments ago, I was wondering how to increase her favorability, and now it's shooting up on its own. I can practically see another money tree taking root. Still stunned, Chen Na blinked and asked, "You're joking, right?" Shen Yuan smiled slightly and responded without hesitation. "I'm dead serious." "What? Don't want to work for me?" He added casually, "Once the cafe opens, I'll pay you 12,000 yuan a month, plus profit shares. And if you stick around for 3 months, I'll buy you a 200,000 yuan car. Your current ride could use an upgrade." Shen Na's eyes widened slightly in surprise. "No sales pressure, just 3 months of work, and I get a car? If I do the math, my annual income would be over 300,000 yuan. But then a new thought crept into her mind. Wait, is he trying to keep me as his mistress? Her mind whirled with conflicting emotions. The offer was tempting, incredibly so, but she also understood nothing in life came free. The moment she accepted, she'd be bound by invisible chains. She refused to be someone's caged bird, especially not as the other woman. Taking a deep breath, she looked him in the eye and said firmly, "You shouldn't be doing this for me." Shen Yuan immediately picked up on her concerns and clarified, "Don't overthink it. I'm opening a coffee chain. This first one is just a pilot store. If you're interested, you'd just be my employee. Nothing else." Chen Na let out a quiet breath of relief, but still remained cautious. "Oh, I see. Let me think about it." Just as things settled between them, Shen Yuan's phone buzzed. A message from Fong Minhui popped up. "Are you free for a cold drink?" Shen Yuan glanced at his screen and smirked. Her appetite is insatiable. After parting ways with Chen Na, Shen Yuan drove straight to the Grand Lux Hotel. Stepping into room 808, his mind was still buzzing with plans. The moment Shen Yuan stepped into the room, Fong Minhui threw herself at him from behind, wrapping her arms tightly around his waist, as if she was afraid he'd disappear the moment she let go. But in the next second, she suddenly wrinkled her nose. A scent unfamiliar to her lingered on Shen Yuan's body. Perfume. Shen Yuan inhaled slightly, his heart tightening. Damn, could it be from Chen Na's car? That perfume of hers is ridiculously strong. It's possible it rubbed off on me. A flicker of suspicion flashed through Fong Minhui's eyes. She suddenly shoved him away, her voice rising in anger. "Tell me the truth. Did you go see another woman behind my back?" Shen Yuan immediately pulled her back into his arms, his tone urgent. "Of course not. You're the only one for me. I was at the 4S dealership today, handling car paperwork. It must have come from one of the saleswomen there. You know how overly friendly those saleswomen can be." Fong Minhui narrowed her eyes, her anger slightly easing. "Fine, I'll believe you for now. But if something like this happens again, I expect you to tell me first. And those female salespeople, stay away from them, got it?" Shen Yuan nodded quickly, but internally, he scoffed. "This isn't about being unfaithful. This is about the system's missions. I need to spend money on different women to maximize cashback. How could I tie myself down to just one?" Fong Minhui sighed and said she was going to take a shower. But before she could move, Shen Yuan caught her wrist and pulled her close. He whispered, "No need to shower. I like the way you smell just like this." Fong Minhui chuckled softly, leaning in to whisper in his ear. Then we're the same. "Shen Yuan, I love your scent too." A spark of excitement shot through Shen Yuan. "Damn, isn't that supposed to be my line?" "Minhui, you're really setting me on fire here." She murmured against his ear, "Shen Yuan, I like you so much." 2 hours later, Fong Minhui was still glowing with satisfaction, while Shen Yuan let out a helpless sigh. Her stamina is insane. She's even needier than Zhou wanting. She gets all the pleasure, while I'm left completely drained. He smirked bitterly to himself. Why is it that this activity boosts her favorability so damn fast? Last time, one night, pushed it to 86. Tonight, after just 2 rounds, she's already at 90. Suddenly, a system notification popped up, snapping him out of his thoughts. Host has successfully reached a favorability score of 90 plus with an individual. Phase 1 favorability mission complete. Rewards issued. 1 million yuan lottery ticket, 1 million yuan shopping voucher, and 1 unyielding X-ability card. Shen Yuan's eyes widened. 1 million yuan lottery ticket? This means even more cash flow. With this, I might be able to clear my family's debts completely. More importantly, this is my chance to make major moves. But then he froze. Wait, unyielding X-ability? What kind of reward is this? Excitement flickered in his eyes. Holy shit. Does this mean I'm about to level up? Sorry, Manhwa. Looks like the tables are about to turn. You won't be the one in control anymore. I will. Without hesitation, Shen Yuan tapped the activation button for the unyielding X-ability card. As soon as the ability was activated, a surge of raw energy flooded through his body, especially in a particular region. An unprecedented strength coursed through his veins, making him laugh out loud. Damn, this reward is insane. Looks like the system truly understands me. It always gives me exactly what I need. Thinking about how he had just broken the 90 favorability threshold, Shen Yuan frowned slightly. Li Zhao's favorability was already over 60, but if he wanted to develop things to the same level as with Manhwa, it was going to be a long journey. Then there was Chun Na, the black-stockinged, long-legged beauty. Her favorability had also crossed 60, which meant she'd need careful investment over time. He couldn't help but wonder who would be the next woman to break the 90 mark? And more importantly, what kind of reward would the system grant for it? But that was a problem for later. Right now, what mattered most was testing out that unyielding X-ability card and seeing exactly what kind of change it would bring. However, Fang Manhwa remained oblivious to Shen Yuan's internal calculations. She saw him approaching again and asked, puzzled, "Weren't you going to take a shower? Why are you back?" Shen Yuan smirked, took her hand firmly, and gazed at her with unwavering confidence. Changed my mind. Decided not to. A hint of confusion flickered across Fang Manhwa's face. Tilting her head slightly, she muttered, "Huh? Shen Yuan, you feel kind of different from before." Meanwhile, across town, inside Chen Na's apartment, her roommate Qian sat on the couch, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Nana, there's this guy who told me he'd invest 300,000 yuan to help me open a store. And after 3 months, he'd even buy me a 200,000 yuan car. Do you think he's trying to keep me as a sugar baby? But he already has a girlfriend." Chen Na paused, a teasing smile playing on her lips. "You sure you didn't run into a scammer?" But Chen Na shook her head, her expression firm. "No way. I've met him a few times. Last time, he even bought a car from me. He's legit." Qian raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "How old is he? Most of your car-buying clients are middle-aged men, right? Wait, he's only 21? And he's already driving a luxury car? What does he look like?" A faint blush crept onto Chun Na's face. Lowering her head slightly, she murmured, "Well, he's kinda handsome." Then, with a playful tone, she added, "He's willing to drop 300,000 yuan to help me open a business and another 200,000 yuan on a car. A guy this young, this rich, and pretty good-looking. What's there to hesitate about?" Qian looked surprised. "But he's 5 or 6 years younger than you. So what?" Chen Na shrugged. "Age isn't a problem. I was a senior when he was a freshman. It's not a big deal. For all we know, he's sitting on a gold mine." But a trace of uncertainty flickered in Chen Na's eyes. "But he already has a girlfriend." Qian scoffed. "So? A girlfriend isn't a wife. Nah, don't be stupid. A guy like that. Who cares if he's taken? Hell, if you play your cards right, you could make him yours." Chen Na blinked, taken aback. "What are you saying?" Qian smirked. "If you're really this unsure, then just give him to me. I'll handle all the consequences for you." Chen Na laughed and countered, "Aren't you already in a relationship?" Qian scoffed dismissively. "And if a real financial backer came along, I'd be single in a heartbeat. Anyway, I gotta go. My boyfriend just got home. We'll chat later." 40 minutes later, back in the hotel, Shen Yuan studied Fang Manhwa with amusement. "Manhwa, don't you think things felt different this time? Stronger, maybe?" Fang Manhwa, still catching her breath from earlier, let out a soft chuckle. Thinking back to what had just transpired, she murmured, "That was incredible. 40 minutes, and we went at it twice. I didn't think it was possible." Shen Yuan leaned in, his voice a low whisper. "Did you like it? Then let's go again." Fang Minhui's eyes widened in disbelief. "Wait, you're still good to go." Shen Yuan raised an eyebrow, his voice teasing, playful. "Minhui, if I remember correctly, you used to take dance lessons. Why don't we switch things up? This time, you take the lead." Fang Minhui frowned slightly, looking at Shen Yuan. "You want me on top, but I don't know how." Shen Yuan chuckled, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "You don't? Well, then you'll have to learn. Isn't experience built through practice?" Fang Minhui sighed, the corners of her lips curving into a helpless smile. You're such a bad guy." The next morning, Fang Minhui returned to school. Shen Yuan, having no morning classes, indulged himself in a rare, comfortable sleep-in. Suddenly, a thought lit up his mind. "Damn, the system's cashback lottery. I need to check it." Grabbing his phone, he quickly scanned the screen. His eyes widened in disbelief. 6 red numbers: 3, 4, 14, 22, 26, 27. And the final blue number, 1, full match. Holy shit, 6.8 million. His heart pounded like a drum. He could hardly believe his own eyes. 6 million in the jackpot. This is a fortune falling straight from the sky. I have to tell Mom and Dad. Our family has been struggling ever since we went bankrupt. It's been way too long since we had a stroke of good luck. Rushing home, he burst through the door. "Mom, I'm home." His mother responded impatiently. Yeah, you're back. No need to shout like that. Have some manners, will you?" But Shen Yuan was too excited to care. "Where's Dad? Get him out here. I have something important to tell you both." His father, hearing the commotion, sighed. "What's so urgent? Can't it wait until I get back? You didn't get yourself into trouble again, did you?" No, this is good news. Just come here. You both need to be ready for this." Taking a deep breath, Shen Yuan grinned from ear to ear. "We're rich. I won 6.8 million. His mother froze, disbelief flashing in her eyes. "Son, have you been under too much stress lately? You need to focus on your studies. Don't get caught up in these silly dreams. We'll handle the family debts. You don't have to worry about that." Shen Yuan waved his phone in front of them, his voice urgent. "No, Mom, look. It's real. I actually won." His father leaned in to check, eyes widening in shock. "Honey, it's true. He really won." His mother's doubt turned into astonishment. "Wait, you're telling me this is real? 6.8 million. Shen Yuan nodded eagerly, his excitement overflowing. "Even after the 20% tax cut, I'll still pocket over 5 million. With this money, we can clear our debts and start living comfortably again." His mother, overcome with joy, clapped her hands together. "Oh, my dear boy, today is your lucky day. Forget cooking. We're going out for a big feast to celebrate." Just as the excitement settled, a thought flickered in Shen Yuan's mind. His expression shifted slightly. "By the way, I'm in my 3rd year now. Graduation isn't far off, and I've been thinking, I want to start my own business. Get some real-world experience." His father furrowed his brows slightly, pausing to consider his words. After a moment, his tone softened. "Business isn't easy these days, but I like that you're thinking ahead. You're young. You should take risks and learn. The prize money is yours. How you use it is up to you. But my advice? Keep some aside. Life is unpredictable. It's always good to have a safety net." Shen Yuan smiled, determination in his eyes. "Dad, Mom, I'll only take 1 million for my business plans. The rest? You guys keep it. Do whatever you need with it." His parents exchanged glances, then nodded with approval. A warm smile spread across his father's face. "All right, son. If that's your decision, we support you." Meanwhile, inside the 4S dealership manager's office, the air was thick with tension. The manager glared at Chen Na, sneering. "Chen Na, I assume you know why I called you in today. Take a good look. This is your man's handiwork." Chen Na remained expressionless, her tone flat. "Sir, I broke up with him a long time ago. We have nothing to do with each other. If you've got a problem, take it up with him. It has nothing to do with me." The manager's face darkened, his voice laced with menace. Oh, really? That's not how this works. Debts have owners, grievances have culprits. If it weren't for you, why the hell would I've gotten punched for no reason? You claim it's not your problem. Then tell me, who's going to fix the mess I'm in now? His words carried a veiled threat. He had already made up his mind to use this opportunity to break her. But Shen Yuan wasn't having it. She shot back without hesitation. What happened was between you and him. How is that my responsibility? Besides, when I sat down yesterday, I told you I was waiting for someone. You were the one who insisted on butting in. How's that my fault? The manager's face turned even more sinister, his voice dropping to a cold edge. Oh, still acting tough. Well then, let's talk about something else. You left your post yesterday, which meant customers weren't attended to in the showroom. As a result, I've decided to penalize you. Effective immediately, you're suspended for the rest of the month. No customer commissions, no exceptions. Whenever you figure things out, come find me. Shen Yuan clenched her fists, seething. On what grounds? I submitted a leave request. You have no right to suspend me for this. The manager burst into laughter, the mockery in his tone evident. Oh, Shen Yuan, on what grounds? You really asking me that? Is this your first job or something? I'm the goddamn general manager of this place. I decide everything that happens here. Suspension meant she'd lose all her sales commissions. Her base salary was only 1,200 yuan, a joke of a paycheck that wouldn't even cover her rent. Shen Yuan felt herself waver for a split second, but quickly steeled herself. She lifted her chin and sneered. What? Being a dealership manager makes you feel like a king. It's just a job. If I don't like it, I can walk away anytime. A glint of cold amusement flashed in the manager's eyes. Oh, Shen Yuan, don't be so hasty. Think it over carefully before making any rash decisions. Shen Yuan hesitated for a moment before turning to leave. But deep down, doubt started creeping in. Shen Yuan may be young, but he handled things with a level of composure and confidence that was rare. Perhaps working for him wasn't such a bad idea. She bit her lip and muttered to herself, no more thinking about it. I've already decided. I'm done here. 30 minutes later, she texted Shen Yuan. Shen Yuan, I've decided to quit. What you said yesterday, does it still stand? Shen Yuan's reply came almost instantly. Congratulations on escaping the hellhole. Now you're stepping onto a path filled with sunshine. If you're free, start scouting locations for a cafe. If we find the right place, we'll buy it. Reading the message, Shen Yuan's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Perfect. Now I don't have to waste time looking for another investment project. The 300,000 yuan from my system mission will go straight into this cafe. After freshening up, Shen Yuan made his way to campus. Before long, he arrived at the faculty office and knocked on the door. Professor Li, I'm here. Professor Li looked up, appearing slightly embarrassed. Shen Yuan, I'd hate to trouble you, but could you help me move offices? There's just too much stuff, and I can't handle it alone. I originally planned to ask the class president, but she had to take the day off. Shen Yuan smiled and waved a hand dismissively. No worries. I have no classes this morning anyway. Which things need to be moved? Professor Li nodded in appreciation. It's mostly just books and materials. I can handle those, but the desk and filing cabinet are too heavy. After a moment of thought, she quickly got to work. Let's start by removing the books from the cabinet first. Otherwise, they might fall while we're moving it. Shen Yuan saw the opportunity and smiled. Professor Li, let me help you with that. Shen Yuan didn't hesitate. He leaned in close. The sudden intimacy made Li Zhao's face instantly flush, her heartbeat hammering so loudly that it felt like it was tearing through the air. This time, the distance between them was even closer than before. She could almost feel the warmth of his every breath. A tightness gripped Li Zhao's chest as a thought suddenly surfaced in her mind. Wait, does Shen Yuan actually have feelings for me? She lowered her head shyly and asked in a soft voice, Are we done? Shen Yuan replied casually, Yeah, all set. At that moment, two students suddenly pushed open the office door. Professor, we're here to help. One of them glanced around curiously and hesitated for a moment. Huh? Why does the professor's face look so red? Did something just happen? Shen Yuan quickly redirected their attention. Come on, grab that filing cabinet and move it to the office next door. Fortunately, the students had entered just a few seconds late. Had they come in any earlier, the whole office would have been drowning in awkwardness. Shen Yuan was definitely getting bolder. It was one thing for him to act that way at home, but now even in the office? But just now, for a split second, Li Xiao had felt a strange, inexplicable rush of excitement. No way. Impossible. He's my student. There's absolutely no way. Why am I even having these thoughts? Wait, my favorability just shot up to 71. Did that little moment, just now, seriously increase her favorability? Shen Yuan was caught off guard by the sudden change. He mused to himself, I didn't even do much. But damn, Professor Li's figure really is something. A more ordinary girl wouldn't even compare. Since favorability is rising, I guess I should drop by more often, build up some rapport. Saturday, 800 meters south of the school gates, inside a cafe. Li Jianping leaned back, studying the two girls sitting across from him before speaking. I heard you guys bought that car with a full payment, 28 grand, just like that. That's impressive. Still in your junior year, and already driving a BBA. That puts you ahead of 99.99% of your classmates. But in his mind, Li Jianping was cursing. Damn it. Fang Minwei actually rejected me? She doesn't know what she's missing. With my wealth and status, girls should be lining up to worship me. Out loud, though, he flashed them a charming smile. Of course, some people don't even care about driving a BBA. The girls looked surprised. One of them asked, No way, seriously? Who wouldn't want a BBA? What kind of background does he have? Are you telling me there are actually people out there who could afford one in just 3 to 5 years, but still don't think it's good enough? Before Li Jianping could answer, his eyes were suddenly drawn to something outside the window. His eyes widened, and he almost spit out his coffee. Holy shit, that girl's legs, they go on forever. What kind of guy has the connections to have someone that's stunning by his side? His voice carried a mix of awe and jealousy as he pointed outside. Look at that. Is that car driving itself? That's insane. What kind of car is that? The car Li Jianping saw was none other than the top-tier M9. One of the girls gasped in surprise. Huh, isn't that Shen Yuan? Li Jianping's heart jolted. Wait, if that's him, then why the hell is he driving that car? Wasn't his family supposed to be bankrupt? As Shen Yuan walked into the cafe, Chen Na greeted him with a warm smile. Li Jianping was utterly dumbfounded. This gorgeous woman was actually waiting for Shen Yuan? Chen Na smiled and explained to him. The owner just texted. She'll be here soon. How's the car driving? One of the girls leaned in and whispered to her friend. Li Jianping, look at Shen Yuan and that girl. Doesn't something about them seem off? Li Jianping clenched his fists, jealousy flaring up inside him. That bastard Shen Yuan. He just broke up with his senior, and now he's already hooking up with some off-campus beauty? Just then, the cafe owner, Lin Yuchong, arrived. She greeted them with a warm smile. Hello, Miss Chun. Sorry, I got held up picking up my child. Lin Yuchong glanced at Shen Yuan and couldn't help but comment. Mr. Shun, you look quite young. Shen Yuan smiled humbly. We're probably around the same age, early 20s. Mrs. Lin, let's sit down and talk. Lin Yuchong didn't waste time and got straight to the point. I'll keep this short. The cafe's business is average, but thanks to its location near the school, foot traffic is decent. However, I've got personal matters and a child to take care of, so I really don't have the time to manage it anymore. I've decided to transfer the store for 300,000 yuan. Shen Yuan quickly ran the numbers in his head. I have 300,000 set aside for investments, but after paying the transfer fee, I'll need to keep 50,000 for startup costs and Shen Na's first month's salary. He immediately made an offer. I won't haggle. 250,000. Take it or leave it. Lin Yuchong felt a pang of disappointment. Shen Yuan's price was lower than her expected 270,000, but considering she was in a hurry to sell and Shen Yuan didn't seem like the type to waste time negotiating, she agreed. All right, 250,000 it is. Can we sign the agreement and process the payment today? Shen Yuan nodded. Yes, once the agreement is signed, I'll transfer the money right away. Lin Yuchong turned to her staff. Xiao Qiu, Mr. Shun is now the new owner of this place. Show him around and help him get familiar with the setup. Xiao Qiu immediately stepped forward, smiling as she greeted Shen Yuan. Shen Yuan returned her smile and gestured toward Chen Na. This is Miss Chen Na. From now on, she'll be in charge of all operations here. I won't be around often, so everything will be under her management. The two girls at the other table whispered to each other, eyes wide. Did you hear that? This is insane. In just a few minutes, he casually dropped $250,000 on a business deal, and he clearly bought this cafe for that girl sitting next to him. Meanwhile, Li Jianpeng's face darkened, his eyes filled with resentment. His jealousy was now practically boiling over. Lin Yuchang's phone rang, and she gave an apologetic smile. Excuse me, Mr. Shun, Miss Chun, I need to take this call. As soon as she walked away, Chen Na leaned in and whispered to Shen Yuan. That woman, Mrs. Lin, she's married to Zhang Xianyong. You remember him, right? The guy who got into a fight with Xie Haijie Agwajin Center? He used to be my boss at the 4S dealership. Shen Yuan's eyes widened slightly in surprise. Then a cold smirk played at the corner of his lips. So that scumbag has such a beautiful wife, yet he still abuses his position to take advantage of female employees? What a filthy bastard. There's no way in hell I'll let that slide. Chen Na hesitated and said, I still have chat records of Zhang Xianyong harassing and threatening me. I was planning to expose him after I get my final paycheck, so people in the car industry could see his true colors. But Mrs. Lin is a good person. I don't want to hurt her. Shen Yuan frowned slightly and replied disapprovingly. Why tell her at all? How do you think she'd react? He paused, deep in thought, before analyzing the situation. If I leak those chat logs, Zhang Xianyong will immediately know who did it. A 40-something-year-old man, suddenly unemployed and still having to provide for his family. I worry he might do something reckless. Tell you what, let me handle this. I'll make sure he pays for what he did, but I won't let it affect you. Chen Na smiled gratefully, her eyes filled with appreciation. Thank you, Shen Yuan. Shen Yuan nodded and smiled. I've already transferred the money to Mrs. Lin. 250,000 is done. And I've also sent you 50,000. 24,000 is for your past 2 months' salary, and the rest is for the cafe startup funds. System notification detected. The host has allocated the full 1 million investment fund. Initial investment mission completed. Investment level upgraded from beginner to intermediate investor. New mission unlocked. A perfect life should have a diverse portfolio of industries. Mission details. The host will receive an additional 10 million investment fund to expand business ventures. Mission rewards. 1. Triple cash return on all investment revenue. 2. Upon completion, the host will receive a mystery industry. Shen Yuan's eyes flickered with excitement. Damn, the system is being generous this time. 10 million in funds just like that? And a mystery business waiting for me? This is going to be interesting. Mrs. Lin checked her phone and smiled. Mr. Shun, I've received the payment. Pleasure doing business with you. Hope to see you again someday. Shen Yuan studied her for a brief moment, noting her delicate hands. Damn, she really does have that mature charm. A few less than honorable thoughts flashed through his mind. Shaking them off, he stood up and shook Lin Yuchang's hand. Yes, let's meet again sometime. Half an hour later, Shen Yuan and Chen Na arrived at a high-end Japanese restaurant. Chen Na glanced at the menu hesitantly. This place looks expensive. Do you come here often? Shen Yuan smiled. Not really, but today's a special occasion. Let's celebrate our partnership. He thought to himself, Chen Na really is a challenge. Any man who spends time around her would struggle to resist her charm. Looks like I need to be ready for more tests ahead. He looked at Chen Na and casually suggested, why don't you sit next to me instead? Come a little closer. Spending 300,000 on the cafe was just the beginning. Now, he had to start recouping his investment. Because let's be real, was he actually doing all this just for the cafe's profits? Mrs. Lin had already admitted the shop barely broke even. And for him, the real investment was in Chen Na herself. Sensing Shen Yuan's subtle movements, Chen Na whispered, Shen Yuan, stop, the waiter's coming in. Shen Yuan chuckled. Relax, the food won't be here that fast. He leaned in closer, his hands beginning to wander. A few minutes later, the waiter knocked on the door, reminding Shen Yuan that the dishes were ready. Shen Na immediately pushed Shen Yuan away and quickly tidied herself up, trying to appear natural. Shen Yuan simply smiled and said to the waiter, "Come in." He picked up a piece of food and placed it in Shen Na's bowl, speaking in a relaxed tone. "Try this. It's their signature dish." Shen Na looked at Shen Yuan, a complicated emotion flashing through her heart. Shen Yuan is actually quite handsome, but he's surrounded by beautiful women all the time. How could I possibly fall for him? She warned herself not to get lost in this. Unfortunately, reason was one thing, reality was another. She was already on this boat, and there was no turning back now. 40 minutes later, Shen Yuan settled the bill, 2,652 yuan in total. As he paid, Shen Yuan mentally calculated. This meal cost me 2,652 yuan, but with the system's triple cashback, I actually earned 5,304 yuan. Making money is just this easy. Meanwhile, Chen Na glanced at the bill, unable to hold back her thoughts. The price of this dinner is almost equivalent to my commission for selling a car. The life of the rich is different. Spending 2,000 yuan to them is like me spending 20 yuan. After the meal, Chen Na wanted to return to the cafe to ask Xiao Qiu about the situation. Since she would officially start working tomorrow, she hoped to familiarize herself with the place as soon as possible. But Shen Yuan said, "It's already 8:30. Xiao Qiu gets off work at 9. It would be a bit inconvenient to disturb her now. Why don't you just go home and rest? You could check in tomorrow." Since Shen Yuan put it that way, Chen Na didn't insist. He then drove her home. When they arrived at Chen Na's apartment, she got out of the car and said, "Thanks for today. I'll update you after work tomorrow. See you." Shen Yuan, however, smiled and casually said, "I'm a bit thirsty. Mind if I go up for a glass of water?" Chen Na froze for a second, suddenly feeling nervous. Is our relationship progressing too fast? What happened in the private room was already my limit. She hesitated for a moment before cautiously asking, "Is it inconvenient?" Shen Yuan raised an eyebrow and asked playfully, "Oh, do you have another man at home?" Chen Na quickly explained, "Of course not. I've already broken up with Xie Haijie." Hearing this, Shen Yuan chuckled meaningfully. "That's great then. I'm just going up for some water. Why would that be a problem?" Chen Na was still hesitant and asked in a low voice, "You really just want a glass of water and then leave?" Shen Yuan smiled mischievously. "Of course, but if you wanted to stay the night, I wouldn't mind either." "Huh." Chen Na widened her eyes, mentally rolling her eyes. "Yeah, right. Keep dreaming." As soon as they entered the apartment, Shen Yuan suddenly pressed Chen Na against the wall, one hand wrapping around her waist, his presence overwhelming. Chen Na's heartbeat quickened as she stammered, blushing, "Didn't you say you just wanted a drink of water?" Shen Yuan smirked. "I do want a drink, but not the kind you're thinking of." Before she could react, he leaned in and kissed her, catching her completely off guard. Meanwhile, Xie Haijie stood outside Chen Na's apartment building, holding a bouquet of roses. He hesitated, but eventually made up his mind. "Nana must have left because of me. I have to get her forgiveness first. No matter what, I need to become her friend again. Then I can work on winning her back." He looked up at her window, but the lights were off. He frowned. She's not home. Lowering his gaze to the roses in his hands, he gently placed them by the door. Roses symbolize, "I will love you forever, until death do us part." She's smart. She'll know they're from me. Just as Xie Haijie was about to leave, he suddenly heard a commotion from upstairs. His expression darkened with anger. "That's Nana's voice. Damn it. Didn't she say she had nothing to do with Zhang Xianyong? And now she's fooling around with him?" Furious, he stormed to the door and pounded on it hard, shouting, "Zhang Xianyong, get out here." Inside, Chen Na heard the noise and frowned. Is that Xie Haijie's voice? What the hell is he doing here after our breakup? He's seriously crazy. She whispered, "I think I heard something outside. Someone's knocking, right?" Shen Yuan chuckled and shook his head. "You're imagining things. Someone's knocking on the door next door. Let's go." With that, Shen Yuan scooped her up and carried her into the bedroom. Chen Na whispered nervously. Shen Yuan, I'm not ready yet. Be gentle. Standing outside, Xia Haijia felt a deep sense of loss. It looks like Na has completely fallen for Shen Yuan. I've lost my chance this time. An hour later, Chen Na panted heavily and murmured, this kind of thing, it feels good, but it's also exhausting. Hearing this, Shen Yuan adjusted his posture and spoke gently. Just lie down. This way, you won't feel as tired. With the X ability granted by the system, Shen Yuan's stamina was limitless. He simply couldn't stop. Chen Na had always thought of herself as outgoing, yet in reality, she was far more reserved than she expected. This only made him more. The next morning, the aroma of toasted bread and fried eggs woke Shen Yuan from his sleep. He sighed inwardly. Chen Na is really thoughtful. This feeling, it's completely different from being with Hui in a hotel. This warmth, this kind of morning, only a home can provide. A hotel could never compare. System notification. A perfect life should include property ownership to create a better living environment for yourself and your loved ones. Limited time mission. Purchase a property of at least 100 square meters for Chen Na within 24 hours. Mission rewards. Reward 1. Double cashback on the property purchase. Reward 2. A mystery property upon purchase. Shen Yuan was momentarily stunned. Holy SHD. The thought that just flashed through my mind. The system immediately arranged it for me. With the system's generosity, this house definitely won't be some shabby place. Another thought popped into his mind. Maybe the mystery property is a luxurious mansion where I can throw pool parties and whatnot. Looks like I need to cultivate relationships with more high-quality women. The probability of surprises like this will only increase. Just then, Chen Na noticed that Shen Yuan was awake and smiled. You're up already? Breakfast will be ready in 2 minutes. Shen Yuan thought to himself, I wonder what reward I'd get if Chen Na's affection level reached 90. Then he grinned at her and said, Is breakfast the only thing on the menu this morning? Suddenly, he pulled Chen Na into his arms, startling her. She yelped, huh? We already did it so many times last night. Aren't you satisfied? Besides, it's daytime now. Shen Yuan chuckled softly. You focus on making breakfast. I'll focus on mine. He looked at Chen Na, a sly glint flashing in his eyes. By the way, if you're free this morning, let's go buy a house. My treat. When Shen Yuan said he wanted to buy her a house, Chen Na froze on the spot, her face full of shock and disbelief. He had already spent 300,000 yuan helping her take over the cafe, and now he was talking about buying her a house? In Star City, even the cheapest apartments cost over 1 million yuan. She had already given him everything. There was nothing left she could offer. What was he after? Could it really be just because she pleased him last night? Shen Yuan spoke gently. Why so quiet? Don't you want it? Chen Na turned her head slightly, her cheeks flushing. No, it's just too sudden. And it's too expensive. Your money didn't fall from the sky. But in truth, it almost might as well have. Shen Yuan had more than 3.5 million yuan readily available just for property purchases. Even if he spent it all, his savings would still comfortably cross into 8-digit territory. Don't try to save money for me. It's only right to buy a house for my woman, and it better be at least 120 square meters. I'm not letting my woman settle for less. Chen Na's nose turned sour at those words, and tears slipped down her cheeks. Shen Yuan whispered, We were so intense last night, and the soundproofing here is terrible. The neighbors on both sides probably heard everything. We really can't keep renting this place. It's all your fault, she murmured with a soft complaint. I admit I was partly responsible, but your voice really was loud, Shen Yuan teased with a grin. Chen Na blushed fiercely and quickly turned her head away in embarrassment, refusing to meet his eyes. Suddenly, Chen Na remembered something. Oh no, I almost forgot. I made plans with my 2 best friends to check out a cafe at 10:30 this morning. How about we go to the cafe first, then look at apartments afterward? After all, buying a house isn't like picking vegetables. It takes time, paperwork, and patience. Even a whole afternoon might not be enough, so better to leave some buffer time. Chen Na quickly sent a message to her friends. Something urgent came up. I can't make it to the cafe today. Can we reschedule for tonight? But just as she sent the message, her friend replied, we're almost at the cafe already. Huh? What? The woman driving was Lu Meng Lu, another of Chun Na's close friends, a top-tier fitness coach with an impressive track record and a fierce, commanding aura. Honestly, I think this whole cafe thing might be a bluff. Or maybe Nana's just exaggerating again. Lu Meng Lu scoffed. What kind of man would be that gullible? Who would just throw 300,000 yuan away for a woman he barely knows? But deep down, Lu Meng Lu knew Chun Na wasn't the type to show off or talk nonsense. If she said it, there had to be something more behind it. Besides, it had been years since she herself had met a young, handsome man worth paying attention to. And now that Chen Na had snagged one first, she simply had to see for herself what made this man so special. So Qian messaged Chen Na again, trying to pry out more details. The moment Qian revealed that the man was planning to buy a house for Chen Na, Lu Meng Lu slammed the brakes in shock, nearly losing control of the car. Are you serious? He's taking her house hunting. This isn't some handbag or a few lipsticks we're talking about. It's a house. Even a tiny apartment costs at least 700,000 to 900,000 yuan. Add the cafe on top. And this guy is willing to burn over 1,000,000 yuan for a woman he's only known for 2 weeks. Lu Meng Lu made up her mind on the spot. I have to meet this guy in person. She was certain men like that never had just one woman. But when it came to winning hearts, Lu Meng Lu had full confidence she could outshine anyone. Qian asked them which real estate project they're visiting. Tell her we're coming to help her pick. Better to have a few more eyes than let her choose blindly. In her heart, Lu Meng Lu thought, if someone's going to benefit from a rich man, it might as well be one of her own sisters, not some random vixen off the street. And just like that, the two of them made their way to the sales office. Half an hour later, they arrived at the sales center. The moment they stepped inside, Lu Meng Lu was stunned. This was Songhu Tiandi, where even the smallest units cost over 1,000,000 yuan. A man gifting a house like this to a woman? If being a mistress came with 1,000,000 yuan properties, she wondered when fortune like that would ever come her way. Nah, long time no see. Qian waved enthusiastically as soon as she spotted Chen Na, her voice full of warmth and excitement. I missed you girls so much. Chen Na rushed forward and clasped Qian's hands, smiling brightly. Meanwhile, Lu Meng Lu's eyes were already fixed on the handsome man beside her. Hey, who's that hump by your side, Nana? Aren't you going to introduce us? Chen Na quickly gathered herself and made introductions. This is Shen Yuan, my friend. She paused slightly, then gestured toward her two besties. This is Lu Meng Lu, a fitness coach, and this is Ho Qian. She works in sales at Farala. Meng Lu, Qian, this is Shen Yuan. Lu Meng Lu stepped in with a playful smirk, inching closer to Shen Yuan. Nice to meet you, Shen Yuan. You're a bit on the lean side. Maybe come train at our gym sometime? Build up those muscles. But in her heart, envy was already rising. This young, handsome sugar daddy was simply too desirable. Better not, Shen Yuan replied with a chuckle, completely unfazed. If I trained at your gym, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to focus at all. Lu Meng Lu raised an eyebrow in surprise. He didn't shy away, not even in front of Chen Na. If he was really her boyfriend, wouldn't he be more reserved? Maybe they weren't an official couple after all. But then her gaze fell on Chen Na's slightly bruised knees. Ah, that explained a lot. Last night must have been intense. No wonder the man was so generous today. He'd clearly been well pleased. Hello, Shen Yuan. Qian chimed in with a warm smile. If you ever think about upgrading your car, drop by Farala. We'll get you something perfect. Shen Yuan nodded politely. Sure, I'll come find you when the time comes. After just a few casual exchanges, Shen Yuan could already sense it. Both of Chen Na's friends were starting to take a real interest in him. He couldn't help but wonder, were these two really her best friends? But either way, this kind of situation only worked in his favor. Another woman with over 60 favorability was another potential money tree. A win-win scenario he certainly wasn't going to refuse. Soon enough, Shen Yuan walked into the sales hall with 3 stunning women by his side. The moment they entered, all eyes turned to them. 3 gorgeous women with distinct charm, instantly becoming the center of attention. Buying a house while flaunting 3 top-tier beauties? Who's he trying to show off for? Muttered a nearby, middle-aged man, jealousy practically oozing from his pores. But envy was all he could manage, nothing more. Sir, we currently have units available in buildings 3 and 9. The average price is around 15,000 per square meter. Would you like to take a look at the model layout first? Shen Yuan waved his hand casually. No need. My budget is 3 million yuan. Just show me the units and floors that match that. Understood, sir. Please come with me to the discussion room. I'll provide a more detailed and tailored recommendation. The sales rep's eyes lit up instantly. Recognizing a big spender when she saw one, she quickly ushered him into the private room with extra enthusiasm. Meanwhile, Lu Menglu stood behind them, completely stunned. Damn, what level of rich is this guy? Throwing out a 3 million budget like it's nothing. Her thoughts grew firmer by the second. This was a premium-grade benefactor, and she had to find a way to cling to him. No way she'd let an opportunity like this slip by. After all, as she always said, better to keep the benefits within the sisterhood than hand them over to some vixen on the street. Shortly after, the sales agent returned with a proposal. Based on your budget, I'd recommend this 165 square meter unit. It faces south, has an ideal layout, and comes to a discounted total of 2.98 million yuan. It's a perfect fit for what you're looking for. That's too expensive. China was visibly startled by the price. Her hand instinctively reached out to tug at the hem of Shen Yuan's jacket, her voice soft and uncertain. The price tag had far exceeded anything she'd expected. 3 million yuan was an unimaginable luxury to her. Don't worry, don't stress over the money. Shen Yuan comforted her with a reassuring smile. A bigger house just means better comfort. He had already made up his mind to buy the property, but calming Chun Na down was just as important. After all, in his eyes, she was already his woman. She wanted to save him money, yet he insisted on giving her only the best. That was Shen Yuan's way of showing affection. Deep, generous, and undeniable. A true gentleman, a rare gem of a benefactor. Watching this unfold, the two best friends could only stare, their hearts twisting with envy. Still, Shen Yuan wasn't a fool. Even if he had the money, no one liked being taken for a sucker. Let's be honest, he said, turning to the sales rep. Give me a real discount, beautiful. I know you have room to negotiate. Sir, if you can confirm the purchase today, I'll apply for the maximum discount on your behalf. The sales rep replied eagerly. Shen Yuan smiled and cut in, forget the discount. Just give me 2 parking spaces instead. That'll even things out. Watching Shen Yuan handle the negotiation so smoothly, Lu Menglu's heart was pounding. A man like this, decisive, generous, powerful, was someone she absolutely had to win over. Without thinking, she began playing with her hair, throwing out subtle cues. Shen Yuan noticed her little gestures almost immediately. He couldn't help but feel puzzled. What exactly was Lu Menglu trying to do? Her eyes kept lingering on him, her movements laced with ambiguous undertones. Catching his gaze, Lu Menglu doubled down. She unleashed her most practiced flirtation techniques. A lingering smile, seductive glances, a subtle lip bite. Her moves were calculated and polished. And truth be told, Shen Yuan felt a flicker of temptation. Now that he really looked at her, this woman was a bombshell. That body, that gaze, she was undeniably alluring. If something were to happen between them, well, let's just say it would be far from ordinary. But Shen Yuan quickly snapped back to focus. This wasn't the time to get distracted. The most important thing now was to finalize the house purchase. In the end, he bought a 165 square meter apartment for Chun Na at a price of 2.98 million yuan. Chen Na's 2 friends were practically losing their minds with envy. So casually, so effortlessly, he bought her a luxury apartment. And the most outrageous part? He put it under Chun Na's name only. When will a windfall like that ever fall into my lap? They both silently lamented. At that moment, Shen Yuan received his triple cashback reward. His account balance now exceeded 15 million yuan. Even during his father's most glorious days, The family's finances had never reached such numbers. The message was clear. Expanding favorability among female NPCs was truly the golden path to success. Meanwhile, a new system prompt chimed in. Congratulations, host. You've been awarded a Green City Qingzhou Lake Villa. Please collect the property at the sales center tomorrow at 9 a.m. Shen Yuan's eyes lit up with delight. Damn, that's one of the top 10 luxury villas in the entire city. The sales agent, equally impressed, couldn't help but marvel. In today's sluggish market, Shen Yuan not only bought a property outright, but gifted it to a woman who didn't even seem to be his girlfriend. Men like this are a rare breed. With a sweet smile, she added, Mr. Shun, the contract is signed. I'll follow up with Ms. Chun regarding the remaining procedures. By the way, perhaps we could add each other on WeChat? If you have any future real estate needs, I'd be happy to assist. Shen Yuan didn't hesitate. He simply pulled out his phone and added her contact. It was always better to keep connections open for future convenience. Watching the sales agent so easily connect with Shen Yuan, Lu Menglu was furious. Who does this vixen think she is, trying to touch my cake? Without missing a beat, Lu Menglu stood up and spoke with a hint of playful charm. Shen Yuan, I'm actually thinking about buying a small apartment myself soon. I might need some expert advice from someone as seasoned as you. Oh, and if you ever feel like getting into fitness, my gym's always open for you. As she spoke, Lu Menglu took the initiative to scan Shen Yuan's WeChat QR code. Shen Yuan, unsurprisingly, didn't decline. He smiled and nodded sure. After all, expanding multiple relationship lines was very much part of his long-term strategy. Nah, I got a few things to handle this afternoon, so I won't be joining you guys, Shen Yuan said gently, reaching out to softly ruffle Chena's hair. You three can catch up, grab a meal, or hang out at the cafe, whatever you like. Chena nodded obediently, a touch of reluctance in her eyes, but said nothing more. He's not even staying for a meal? Am I really that unappealing? Lu Menglu felt a pang of disappointment. Despite all her subtle flirting, Shen Yuan still seemed indifferent to her presence. Menglu, Qian, let's go grab something to eat first. I'll take you to see the cafe later, Chena suggested with a smile. Qian teased, we're definitely treating ourselves today. You're officially a $3 million woman now. Menglu and I are beyond jealous. Exactly, Lu Menglu chimed in, though her smile looked a little forced. Her thoughts weren't on lunch anymore. They were entirely on Shen Yuan. About half an hour later, Shen Yuan returned to campus and headed to the cafeteria for a quiet meal. As he walked in, he noticed a familiar figure sitting alone in a corner, his counselor, Li Xiao. It was rare to see her dining by herself. Even more curious, some students nearby were whispering and casting furtive glances in her direction, as if something had happened. Just as he was approaching, Shen Yuan overheard her on the phone. I understand. I'll prepare the materials this afternoon. The report should be ready by tomorrow. Yes, I've checked. Tech University, Agricultural University, and even the business school all have similar startup bases. Tomorrow night? I'm afraid I already have a prior engagement. Apologies, Secretary Liu. It's just a bit of a personal matter this time. Yes, thank you. Goodbye. She ended the call with a sigh, her brow slightly furrowed, fatigue written all over her face. At that moment, Shen Yuan sat down across from her. Everything okay, Miss Li? You look pretty swamped just now. Li Xiao didn't hide it, letting out a light sigh. The school's planning a student entrepreneurship base. I'm part of the project team. That call was about the coordination. Shen Yuan wasn't particularly familiar with the so-called entrepreneurship-based project, so he decided to ask Li Xiao for more details. It's a support initiative the school is planning, Li Xiao explained patiently. For students who have entrepreneurial ideas, we'll provide funding, workspace, and mentorship. But there's a problem. We're short on capital, so we have to seek partnerships with outside companies. And what exactly can our school offer these companies in return? Shen Yuan asked, intrigued. Li Xiao gave a faint, wry smile. The only leverage we have is talent. We'd sign contracts promising to send a certain number of qualified graduates to these companies each year. Shen Yuan chuckled, shaking his head. Let's be honest. Do we really have that kind of leverage? Our graduates can't hold a candle to those from top-tier universities. Li Xiao, herself a graduate of a double first-class university, knew he was right. If companies don't see real value, they won't invest a single yuan. Her face darkened slightly. She remembered something that had been weighing on her. Her supervisor had actually suggested she attend dinner parties with corporate executives to build connections. Just the thought of a university lecturer being reduced to that made her feel disgusted. What am I, a teacher or a glorified hostess? Watching her troubled expression, Shen Yuan started to seriously consider the idea. He had a dedicated fund of 10 million yuan for investments, but any project needed to be profitable. For that to happen, the student success rate had to hit at least 30%. Given the school's current standing, he doubted it could even reach 20%. Actually, I was thinking, Shen Yuan began, but Li Xiao interrupted. You're interested in starting a business too? She assumed he wanted to join the project. Shen Yuan smiled, a little interest, maybe. Not much. In truth, he wasn't an entrepreneur. He was the investor. Well, it's good to have that mindset, Li Xiao said with a light smile, but her voice turned a little doubtful. But honestly, the project's not even off the ground yet. Without an investor, it's unlikely to get anywhere. Just then, a system prompt appeared. New mission. Invest in the university's entrepreneurship project to earn reputation points. Reputation reflects how much teachers and students respect and acknowledge the host. This mission will only calculate reputation within the university. Shen Yuan was momentarily stunned. He hadn't expected this to trigger a task. It was just about gaining reputation. If profit wasn't the concern, then this project was actually a great opportunity, and it'd help Li Xiao out of a tough spot too. Why not? Exactly. I'm the investor, Shen Yuan thought smugly, the corners of his mouth curling up. Who I invest in, how much I invest, it's all up to me. If I put money into beautiful senior or junior students starting businesses, not only do I gain reputation points, but I also boost their favorability. The cashback alone could make my hands cramp from counting. By the way, Miss Li, he asked with a serious tone, if someone, say a private investor or a company, wants to invest, who evaluates the students? The school or the investor? Technically, it should be the school, Li Xiao replied honestly. But let's face it, no one's stepping up to invest right now, so the rules are pretty flexible. Why are you asking, though? Because I want to invest, Shen Yuan said calmly. But under one condition, I get to evaluate the students. Li Xiao burst into laughter. She thought he was joking. After all, his family had gone bankrupt, and he'd even applied for financial aid. Now he suddenly wanted to become an investor? But then Shen Yuan pulled out his phone, opened his bank app, and casually showed her the screen. Miss Li, here, check my account. Count the zeros. Li Xiao instinctively leaned closer. As she counted, her eyes widened in disbelief. 9 digits. Over 15 million yuan. She froze, unable to speak. This, she gasped, covering her mouth in shock. Shen Yuan explained with a calm smile. Before my family business collapsed, I dabbled in BT coins and foreign exchange. This money, I earned it myself. Li Xiao felt like she was in a dream. This is surreal. My student is a multimillionaire. Then Shen Yuan leaned forward slightly, a playful glint in his eye and a teasing smile on his lips. Miss Li, how about this? Why don't you come with me? We'll travel the world together. I'll make sure you eat well, drink well, and live the good life. His words were bold and casual, but Li Xiao's face turned crimson in an instant, burning hot with embarrassment. Li Xiao couldn't help but drift into a brief fantasy. Shen Yuan truly had the strength to make such a promise now. Could it be he wasn't joking? Don't say such things, she replied. Try to maintain composure. She coughed softly to hide her unease. Are you really planning to invest in this university entrepreneurship project? It's rarely profitable. I suggest you think twice. This isn't just pocket change. Her voice was steady, but her gaze wavered. She couldn't even look him in the eye. Shen Yuan, however, looked more serious than ever. I've considered that. But honestly, I just want to contribute to my alma mater's development. He's serious. He's really serious. Li Xiao's thoughts spiraled. Does that mean When he said we should travel the world together, was he serious about that too? No. Li Xiao, he's your student. What on earth are you thinking? Even though it was just a fleeting thought, her cheeks instantly flushed crimson. She shook her head quickly, trying to banish that inappropriate idea from her mind. I'll report this to the leadership later, she said, standing up quickly. Let's talk again later. You finish your meal first. As she walked away, Shen Yuan called out with a smirk. Oh, and Miss Li, don't be too quick to say no to eating well and living well. At 4:30 in the afternoon, Chen Na sent him a photo of a cup of coffee she had made herself, along with a playful message. Come try it when you're free. Shen Yuan replied immediately. Looks off just from the photo. I'll come over and give you some proper training. He wasn't impressed by the coffee, but her outfit in the photo caught his attention. Apron, light makeup, a playful ribbon in her hair. It was a look that stirred his imagination. Meanwhile, elsewhere on campus, Xiaoi, why are you still thinking about Shen Yuan? He's no longer a rich kid. He's probably working part-time just to pay tuition. The speaker was another girl from the neighboring class, named Song Xiaoi. You're the one who keeps talking about him. Xiaoi rolled her eyes. What about you, Yuping? Why are you still chatting and going out with Shen Yuan's roommate, Huang Haibao? Yuping sighed with a scowl. Don't bring it up. I've rejected him so many times, but he keeps clinging like a leech. He's driving me crazy. Even if he asks you out, at least you'd get a free meal. But if you get involved with Shen Yuan now, you'd be the one paying the price. The short-haired girl leaned in and whispered, Xiaoi, you really need to think this through. Just as she finished, she caught sight of Shen Yuan approaching from the other side. She quickly nudged her friend. Shoo, he's coming. Yuping smirked. Didn't I say so? He really does look like he's headed for part-time work. It's around 3 p.m. now. Perfect timing for a restaurant prep shift. Should we follow and see which shop he's working at? One girl teased. You guys don't dare ask. I'll do it myself. Xiaoi frowned slightly. Come on, that's inappropriate. We're classmates, not paparazzi. But Yuping wouldn't let it go. With a condescending tone, she called out, Shen Yuan, haven't seen you lately. Been busy with part-time work, huh? Which place are you at? Maybe we'll drop by and support you. Shen Yuan didn't really want to argue, especially out of courtesy to Huang Haibao. But he wasn't about to let it slide either. With a faint smile, he replied, Yeah, I've been working at a cafe. If you're so interested, why not come along? I'll make you some coffee myself. Moments later, they arrived at the cafe. As soon as they stepped inside, the figures of Chun Na and Lu Minglu came into view. The two women stood there effortlessly, but their presence alone turned every head in the room. The three girls behind Shen Yuan were completely stunned. Those were anime tier legs. One of them even had such surreal proportions, it felt like she had stepped right out of a dream. You're here, Chen Na greeted softly. I thought you said you had something else to do, Lu Minglu teased with a sly grin. Turns out, it was entertaining your female classmates. Both women naturally moved closer to Shen Yuan, the air between them intimate and unforced. The three girls trailing behind him could only gape in shock, their jaws nearly hitting the floor. So this was the cafe he was working at? Shen Yuan smiled and explained, I just happened to run into them on the street and thought I'd bring them over for a coffee. Lu Minglu nodded with a smile and greeted them warmly. Xiao Qiu asked the three ladies what they'd like to drink. It's on me. The waiter quickly responded. Ladies, please have a seat over here. You can scan the code on the table to place your order. Let me know when you're ready. After seeing how smoothly Shen Yuan handled everything, the three female classmates felt incredibly awkward. What's going on? She just called Shen Yuan boss? Could it be that Shen Yuan isn't a part-timer, but the actual owner of this cafe? In that moment, the three were stunned. Xiaoi tugged her friend's sleeve and whispered, maybe we shouldn't stay. Just moments ago, they were mocking Shen Yuan for having a side job. Now it turned out he owns the place. That's beyond embarrassing. Yeah, Xiaoi's right. Let's go. With that, they got up to leave. Yuping grumbled internally. Shen Yuan was really something. He had money, ran a cafe, had beautiful women around him, yet still pretended to be doing part-time work. What a joke. Why did your classmates leave so suddenly? Lu Minglu asked, puzzled. Shen Yuan chuckled. Maybe they were intimidated by how stunning you two are. Of course we're stunning, Lu Menglu teased, raising an eyebrow. But you better behave yourself and not get any wild ideas. Her words were boldly flirtatious, not holding back anymore. Shen Yuan, hearing that, felt even more convinced. This little minx, he was definitely going to win her over sooner or later. Moments later, Chen Na brought over a cup of coffee. Shen Yuan, here's your coffee. I wasn't sure how sweet you liked it, so I made it half sugar. Is that okay? Shen Yuan took the cup with a smile and said, as long as it's made by you, I'd love it even if it's full sugar. Lu Menglu chuckled softly at that. Seriously? Still using those cheesy pickup lines in this day and age. But truth be told, when cheesy lines came from a handsome, wealthy man, they somehow sounded charming. Watching the playful exchange between the two, Lu Menglu couldn't help but blush slightly herself. Lu Menglu suddenly asked, Shen Yuan, what's your height and weight? Let me calculate your BMI. Shen Yuan replied casually, 182 centimeters, 72 kilograms. But I've probably lost some weight recently. Why is that? Lu Menglu was curious. Do you have some secret weight loss trick? High energy consumption, Shen Yuan replied vaguely. Chen Na's cheeks immediately flushed red. She didn't expect Shen Yuan to say something with such a hidden meaning in front of her best friend. It made her feel shy and flustered. No wonder. Lu Menglu instantly caught on. As a seasoned fitness coach, she could read between the lines all too well. Right now, Shen Yuan was clearly growing more attractive in her eyes. You need more training, she said. Your body fat percentage is too low. You should gain 7 to 10 kilograms of muscle. Shen Yuan smirked. So, this is your way of persuading me to get a membership at your gym, huh? He knew exactly how this sales pitch worked. Hee, it's the end of the month. I'm just trying to hit my quota, Lu Menglu said with a playful smile, leaning in flirtatiously. Shen Yuan chuckled at her forwardness. All right, I'll think about it. Not long after, Lu Menglu stood up. Oh no, it's already past 4 p.m. Nah, I got a class at 5. I need to go. Let's catch up next time. With Shen Yuan's contact now saved, her goal was achieved. Before leaving, she even winked at him, a bold, unmistakable signal. Shen Yuan couldn't help but admire her confidence. This little minx, flirting so blatantly, even in front of her friend? You mind sooner or later. Come on, Anna. Let's go upstairs. I need to train you a bit, Shen Yuan said with a teasing smile as he gently took her hand. Chen Na looked puzzled. Train me for what? Shen Yuan grinned. You'll see once we're upstairs. Once there, he looked her straight in the eyes. Your business skills need some extra coaching. Chen Na instantly caught on and whispered nervously, not here. Xiao Qiu is still around. Saying not here to a man only makes him move faster. As they spoke, Shen Yuan had already started training. Before long, some unusual sounds echoed from the second floor. Downstairs, Xiao Qiu quickly noticed something was off. At first, she didn't understand, but when she heard those faint, ambiguous sounds, her face turned beet red. Very tactfully, Xiao Qiu decided to temporarily close the shop and locked the door, planning to reopen later. Just then, a knock came from the door. Xiao Qiu, why is the shop closed? Open up, I forgot my bag. It was Lu Menglu rushing back. Xiao Qiu stood hesitantly by the door. What are you doing? Hurry and open the door, urged Lu Menglu. With no choice, Xiao Qiu opened it. As soon as Lu Menglu walked in, she heard her best friend Chen Na's voice from upstairs. Shen Yuan, slow down. Her eyes widened in surprise. Broad daylight and already going at it? 10 minutes passed. Lu Menglu thought they'd be done by now, but the sounds continued. She was utterly baffled. How could someone as lean as Shen Yuan still have so much stamina? It was then that she realized this man Shen Yuan clearly wasn't ordinary. Xiao Qiu, I'm heading out now. See you next time. Suddenly, Lu Menglu raised her voice deliberately, loud enough to echo through the entire building, clearly meant for someone upstairs to hear. Chen Na, already on edge, shuddered the moment she heard it. Her heart sank. Oh no, she heard everything. Meanwhile, Shen Yuan grumbled internally. A quality training session deserves an audience. That vixen Lu Meng Lu probably listened downstairs for at least 10 minutes. This kind of VIP content shouldn't be free next time. I need to start charging. Meanwhile, in the school office, Secretary Lu turned to the counselor, asking, "You mean this student named Shen Yuan wants to invest in the entrepreneurship base?" "Yes, Secretary," Counselor Li Xiao replied, then explained Shen Yuan's investment proposal in detail. After all, such an important matter needed to be reported to the leadership. Secretary Lu looked skeptical. "Does he even have the means?" Li Xiao nodded. "I had my doubts at first too, but after seeing his bank balance, 10 million, I had nothing more to say." "How much did you say?" 10 million. Secretary Lu was shocked. "Are you sure it's not his parents' money? Can he actually access it himself?" "It's all his. He has full control over it," Li Xiao confirmed. Secretary Lu's face lit up. "Well, that's excellent. Then we don't have to seek third-party partnerships anymore. Tell Shen Yuan to come to my office. I want to hear his proposal firsthand." Noticing Secretary Lu's commanding tone, Li Xiao reminded him, "Sir, even though he's a student, he's also an investor. Shouldn't we be more respectful?" "No need. Just do as I say," Secretary Lu said coldly. "So what if he's rich? He's still a student of this school. We must keep him grounded." Soon, Shen Yuan received a call from Li Xiao. "It's from Teacher Li." "Nana, give me a moment." "Hello, counselor, go ahead." "I see." Very quickly, Shen Yuan grasped the situation. Li Xiao relayed everything exactly as it was. The school administration's attitude toward the investor had shifted. Shen Yuan frowned. "So, they're trying to pressure me now? Even if I give in this time, what's to stop them from pushing further next time?" He calmly said, "Miss Li, could you put the call on speaker? I'd like to speak directly to Secretary Lu." "Secretary Lu, can you hear me? I've been quite busy lately. There are several investment projects I still need to evaluate. If you really want to talk, let's reschedule. Miss Li will leave you my number." Without waiting for a reply, Shen Yuan hung up. Secretary Lu didn't even get a word in. Cold sweat trickled down his back. He hadn't expected Shen Yuan to be so assertive. Meanwhile, Li Xiao was completely stunned. He actually hung up on the secretary. "This student is gutsy, as she pondered it. A faint blush unknowingly crept across her elegant face. In the school office, Shen Yuan hung up the phone with Secretary Lu, who immediately stood up in frustration, his face full of displeasure. Secretary Lu was extremely upset. Normally, every student would be respectful and obedient to him, but this time, Shen Yuan was different. However, this project was too important, and if something went wrong, he would be held accountable. Suppressing his anger, Secretary Lu waved his hand and said impassively, "Teacher Li, since Shen Yuan has investment power, why don't you invite him for a meal? I'll apply some pressure on him then." Li Xiao quietly opened his phone and sent a message to Shen Yuan, alerting him to Secretary Lu's intentions. Shen Yuan, sitting on the second floor of the coffee shop, saw the message and calmly replied, "The balance of the negotiation is on my side now. Lu Zhaojiang wants to pressure me? Let's keep him hanging for a while first." Just then, Chen Na got up, dressed, and said softly, "Shen Yuan, you go ahead and take care of your things. We'll have a meal together next time." Watching Chen Na leave with a flushed face, Shen Yuan couldn't help but think, "Nana really thinks of everything for me. She's such a thoughtful woman. No wonder I like her so much." As soon as Chen Na left, Shen Yuan received a call from Fong Huimin. "Shen Yuan, where are you up to? Do you have time to take a walk on the playground?" Shen Yuan laughed lightly. "Just a walk? I thought you were asking me out for cold drinks." Fong Huimin immediately replied, "No, my relatives are here." Shen Yuan finally understood. No wonder Fong Huimin hadn't contacted him these past few days. It was because of this. Just then, Fong Huimin suddenly spoke softly, "But if you want, it's not impossible." Shen Yuan looked at her seriously. "Your health is the most important. Oui, don't say such things next time. I'll wait downstairs at the dorm to pick you up." As soon as they arrived at the dorm, Fong Huimin suddenly threw herself into Shen Yuan's arms. Shen Yuan gently reminded her, "You still need to pay attention to certain things these days, okay? It's fine if I wait a few more days, but oui, you must take good care of yourself." Shen Yuan, you're so good. Fang Huimin was so moved, her heart nearly melted. With such thoughtful care, she felt like she was drowning in affection. Summoning all her courage, she asked, I want to ask you, what is our relationship now? At this moment, Fang Huimin's affection for him had reached 91. She thought it was time to get a clear answer. After everything they'd been through, they must have some kind of special connection. After all, what girl doesn't want to know where they stand? Shen Yuan knew this was a tough question to answer, but seeing her affection rise further, it was clear she truly liked him. Without hesitation, he answered, Of course, we are boyfriend and girlfriend. Really? Really? Fang Huimin was so happy, she almost jumped. At that moment, she felt like the happiest woman in the world. Shen Yuan, you're my only boyfriend, right? Fang Huimin was completely overwhelmed by happiness, and this question came out without her even thinking. Shen Yuan naturally nodded in agreement, but in his heart he was thinking, I don't call the others my girlfriend, I call them sweethearts, babes, darling. In this sense, I didn't lie. Since you're being so good, I'll reward you in a few days. Shen Yuan looked at Fang Huimin and said with a smile, Silly girl, let's go buy a big gift this weekend. Do you want a car or a house? He felt it was time to continue spending. What? You want to buy me a house and a car? Isn't that too expensive? A bag and some makeup would be great already. Fang Huimin's eyes were wide with shock and excitement. Shen Yuan simply smiled faintly. No need to save money from me. It's not necessary to buy those things. But I think, since you're studying hard every day and don't really need a car right now, how about we buy a house first? We can get a car when you actually need it, all right? Okay, I'll listen to you. Fang Huimin happily leaned on Shen Yuan's shoulder as they walked toward the dorm. Shen Yuan thought the day had gone well enough, so he sent Fang Huimin back to her dorm and kindly reminded her, Make sure to rest more with relatives around. I need to go to Qingzhou late tomorrow to collect the house. The next morning, Shen Yuan received a message from Lu Menglu. Are you up yet? Got time to hit the gym? It turned out Lu Menglu had called him via video chat. Shen Yuan frowned. Is this video call for real? Only an improper man would think this is strange. Lu Menglu scoffed with a hint of challenge in her voice. Tell me, did you have any bad intentions? Her words were loaded with implication, and Shen Yuan could easily catch on. Lu Menglu stared at the screen, thinking to herself, his tone, it sounds like he doesn't even see me as an outsider. Let's see how long he can keep this up. Coach Lu. This was one of Lu Menglu's clients, here for a personal training session. And to her surprise, the client was none other than Shen Yuan's gold-digging ex-girlfriend, Zhou Wanting. Zhou Wanting smiled and asked, Coach, what's up? Why are you laughing so much this early in the morning? Lu Menglu turned off the treadmill and replied casually, Nothing much, just a friend found something funny. Tell me, I'm all ears. Our session hasn't even started yet, Lu Menglu said, shrugging as she began chatting with Zhou Wanting. So, one of my good friends just hooked up with a big spender. He's so generous, bought her a 3 million yuan house. 3 million? Just like that? Must be worth tens of millions at least. Zhou Wanting's eyes widened in shock. That gold spender must be really loaded. Lu Menglu sighed. Yeah, so I can't help but be a little envious. With that kind of financial power, the guy must be pretty old, right? Zhou Wanting thought to herself, mentally comparing. Even if he was an older man, it might still be worth it. She couldn't help but think of Ho Jun, that stingy guy. He always wanted things but was too cheap to spend money. Looks like it's time to find a new man. No, he's only in his early 20s, even younger than my friend. Lu Menglu replied with a slight smile, a bit of envy in her tone. That's actually one of the things I envy about her. Zhou Wanting was curious and asked, So how does he look? Is he ugly? Lu Menglu shook her head slightly. You'd be surprised. He's actually pretty handsome and tall too. Zhou Wanting was even more amazed. Coach Lu, your friend must be really beautiful. Huh? I mean, to hook up with a guy like that. She must be a stunning beauty. Zhou Wanting was convinced that Lu Menglu's friend had to be a top-tier woman in every way. Lu Menglu chuckled and said, We're pretty much the same, really. Just each of us has our own strengths. Zhou Wanting finally understood. If she was anywhere close to Lu Menglu, no wonder the guy was so smitten. Just then, Shen Yuan sent a message saying he was heading to Qingzhou Lake to pick up a house. Lu Menglu asked if he needed his sister to come along. Shen Yuan replied, "If you're free, feel free to join me." Lu Menglu quickly typed back, "Then come pick me up. I'm at the gym right now. I've sent you the location, waiting for you." After sending the message, Lu Menglu felt her face heat up. "Coach Lu, what's up? You seem even happier than before," Zhou Wanting said, her curiosity piqued. Lu Menglu stood up and smiled. "Sorry, Miss Zhou, but I have to cancel our session today. I'll refund you double the price for this class. The guy I mentioned earlier, he's going to Qingzhou Lake to pick up a house, and he wants me to go with him. I'm really sorry about this." Zhou Wanting was stunned. Qingzhou Lake was one of the top luxury neighborhoods, famous for being home to the rich. She couldn't help but think, wait a minute, the gold spender was your friend's man, right? Why is he suddenly asking you to go pick up a house with him? Zhou Wanting laughed, finally understanding. "I get it, Coach Lu, you're ruthless, stealing your friend's man. But if I were in your shoes, I probably wouldn't hesitate either. Menglu, where are you going? Aren't you meeting clients in a bit?" Just then, a muscular male trainer, Han Lihai, walked over, smiling at Lu Menglu, clearly interested in her. But Lu Menglu didn't even spare him a glance. She wasn't about to tell him where she was going. She didn't waste her time with men like him. Only someone like Shen Yuan could pique her interest. About 10 minutes later, Lu Menglu arrived downstairs, and the person coming to pick her up was already there in his car. Han Lihai muttered to himself, "A guy with an M9 can manage Menglu. That guy who drove a G-Wagon couldn't even get it right." Zhou Wanting explained, "Don't just look at the car. This guy can casually buy his girlfriend a 3 million yuan house." Han Lihai was stunned. 3 million? How many years would it take to make 3 million? But suddenly, Zhou Wanting frowned. Wait a minute. This person looks oddly familiar. The man stepping out of the car looked more and more familiar to Zhou Wanting. When he fully turned his face to her, Zhou Wanting finally recognized him. Shen Yuan. The same Shen Yuan who had once been penniless after his family went bankrupt. But now, this poor Shen Yuan was driving an M9 and taking a top trainer to look at houses. The shock hit Zhou Wanting hard. Her mouth fell open. How could this be? She couldn't understand it. 1,000 questions flooded her mind, and her thoughts were in complete turmoil. Watching the two of them chatting and laughing, Zhou Wanting finally realized Lu Menglu's description of tall, handsome, young, and rich was talking about Shen Yuan. Her ex had turned into a millionaire, and here she was dumping him just half a month ago. Zhou Wanting's world came crashing down. She couldn't accept it. She couldn't accept this reality, couldn't accept Shen Yuan's transformation, couldn't accept the decision she'd made. She had actually dumped Shen Yuan to be with some old man. Looking back now, Zhou Wanting couldn't help but think, was I out of my damn mind? Just then, the old man sent her a message. "You're off today, right? Come see me tonight." Zhou Wanting scoffed. "Who do you think you are? Every time you just want to skip the script and go straight to the point. Do I look that cheap to you?" Seeing Shen Yuan rich and successful now, and then reading that sleazy text, she snapped. She texted back, "Go to hell, you moron." The old man replied, "Is this really you?" 1 second later, Zhou Wanting blocked him without hesitation. The old man stared at the screen, shocked. "What the hell? She blocked me? What's going on here?" Zhou Wanting's thoughts were in chaos. Do Shen Yuan and I still have a chance? We did have something, didn't we? The real issue was Shen Yuan's life might be a little too crowded now. There was Coach Lu, that freshman girl from the finance department, and then Coach Lu's bestie, whom she hadn't even met but heard was drop-dead gorgeous. With all those top-tier girls around him, would adding myself just be too much? But still, Zhou Wanting missed him. Missed him so much. Meanwhile, Shen Yuan and Lu Menglu were on the road, heading to check out a villa. Sitting in the passenger seat, Lu Menglu glanced sideways. "Your car's huge, Shen Yuan. I'm so jealous. You can even take it off-road." Her words were laced with innuendo. "Off-roading sounds fun. I'll bring Nana along sometime." Of course, Shen Yuan knew what she really meant, but he wasn't about to take the bait so easily. "You're not playing by the usual rules," Lu Menglu teased. Shen Yuan replied calmly, Then tell me, what are the usual rules? Lu Menglu paused, caught off guard, but Shen Yuan smiled. How about this? Let me try saying it my way. He'd had the line ready for a while. Since she brought it up, no need to pretend. Coach Lu, I want to play ball. His eyes sparkled playfully. Facing someone like Lu Menglu, Shen Yuan could match her pace step for step. Ugh, you're so annoying. She burst out laughing. Though she called him annoying, her expression was full of joy. 30 minutes later, they arrived at the sales center. Shen Yuan was there to check out the villa he'd recently received as a reward. As soon as they stepped inside, a sales consultant came up with a smile. Hello, Mr. Shen. I'm your property consultant, Guan Shufang. Would you like to view the villa first? Or go over the contract details? Shen Yuan said calmly. Let's just sign the contract first. We'll check out the villa afterward. The property consultant's eyes lit up. She nodded eagerly, smiling brightly. A straightforward client like this? Absolute favorite. In no time, the contract was signed, and the three of them headed out to see the property. Along the way, the consultant couldn't help glancing at Shen Yuan and Lu Menglu. These two clearly aren't a couple, but wow, that woman's figure is insane. As a top-tier fitness coach, Lu Menglu had every reason to be confident in her body. Compared to her, most women would instantly fade into the background. The difference between women was brutal. The consultant sighed inwardly that a woman like her doesn't need skills. Just her looks and that body. Enough to make men line up to buy her villas and cars. So enviable. Too bad plain women like me never get that chance. Soon, they arrived at the villa gates. The moment Shen Yuan stepped out of the car, he knew this was his style. Wow, Shen Yuan, this place is gorgeous. Lu Menglu couldn't hide her excitement. Her eyes were literally sparkling. In a city filled with concrete towers, a private villa like this was a rare gem. If I could live here, my life would completely change that I have to win Shen Yuan over. No matter what. Mr. Shen, the official property area is 610 square meters, but with the garden, the actual usable space reaches nearly 2,000. It's still an unfinished shell, so you could design and renovate however you like. Lu Menglu gasped, it's huge. Just then, the system notification chimed. Congratulations, host. First property acquired. You have received a renovation fund of 20 million yuan, fully customizable. Shen Yuan stood frozen. Wait, you're serious? This house cost a little over 10 million, and you want to spend twice that just on the renovation? But since the system had already spoken, Shen Yuan could only accept his fate with tears in his eyes. Ms. Guan, do you have any renovation companies to recommend? The consultant quickly responded, Absolutely, Mr. Shen. I know a few top-tier design firms in Xingqing. Great reputation, tasteful aesthetics. I'll send you their contacts on WeChat. All right, it's just a bare-bones unit anyway. Nothing more to see. Shen Yuan turned to leave, but Lu Menglu raised her phone with a grin. Mind if I take some photos and videos for Shen? Shen Yuan nodded. Sure, just don't show my face. Lu Menglu chuckled. Basically monk-level temptation. I wouldn't dare post your face. What if other demons come after you? She wasn't some naive girl like Chen Na. A man like Shen Yuan wasn't meant to be shared. Suddenly, Shen Yuan asked, How many followers you got on Shen? Lu Menglu replied, A little over 50,000. Mostly local. She smirked. Yup, majority's local. What, you planning to secretly watch my videos, you perv? 50,000 guys have seen them. Why can't I? Shen Yuan smirked back. His game wasn't weak either. Lu Menglu teased, they only get the public version. You get the premium content. Send me your account later. I've got a video from a lounge bar we're promoting. If you're down, you could try it out. Lu Menglu's eyes lit up. Seriously? You in a lounge bar too? I'll send you my account right now. Coach Lu, where you headed next? Gym. Lu Menglu gave a playful look. Where else do you think I'm going? I thought you were taking me to play ball. Shen Yuan said bluntly this time, dropping all pretense. Lu Menglu scoffed. In your dreams. You men are all the same. Bullying Nana at that kind of place yesterday. I haven't even started grilling you about that yet. But before she could finish, Shen Yuan suddenly slammed on the brakes. Lu Menglu lost her balance, lurching forward, only to land right in Shen Yuan's grasp. He smirked. You've got some nerve. Listening downstairs for that long last night? I haven't even charged you for that. If you're so heartbroken over Nana, how about you take her place? No more hints now. That was as direct as it gets. Not a chance. Lu Menglu refused, but her tone wasn't exactly firm. She definitely wanted to get close to Shen Yuan, but not too fast. She knew that women who gave in easily quickly lost their value. The more a man can't have you, the more he wants you. That's why she kept him hanging, dropping bait, playing the long game. When he finally earned her, he'd cherish her that much more. Soon, Shen Yuan pulled up at the gym. Before getting out, Lu Menglu smiled. Bye-bye, Shen Yuan. Come work out at our gym sometime. Bye, Coach Lu. Let's play ball together next time. As he drove off, Shen Yuan still slipped in a final tease, and to her surprise, Lu Menglu actually felt a little flutter inside. The moment she stepped into the gym, she ran into a well-built, muscular man. The man was the manager of the gym. Menglu, what's going on? I heard you bailed on a client session this morning. You do realize that's a breach of contract, right? I had some personal matters to handle, Lu Menglu replied calmly. And I already spoke to Ms. Zhou. I told her I'd refund the session double. Yeah, you did offer her a double refund, but she's still a bit upset. Anyway, I've already handled it for you. Lu Menglu raised an eyebrow, a bit confused. Why would Ms. Zhou suddenly make trouble? She saw right through the manager's tactic. Play the boss first, then act like the good guy. Really? That's your strategy? You think someone like you can win me over? Thanks, manager. If there's nothing else, I'll get back to work now. The manager wasn't ready to give up. It's almost noon. What work could you possibly have now? Let's grab lunch. No thanks. I brought my own fitness meal. I don't eat high-calorie stuff. Lu Menglu was the gym's top-performing coach, also the boss's personal favorite. She knew this little manager had no real power over her. Only a man like Shen Yuan could catch her eye. Shen Yuan was someone she wanted to conquer and maybe be conquered by. I'm destined to live in a lakeside villa in Qingzhou Lake. You think I'd let trash like this block my way? Her ambition was clearer than ever. Shen Yuan was hers to win. Meanwhile, at the university, Secretary Kong Zongping of the Youth League Committee had just heard about Shen Yuan's interest in investing in the university's startup base. He asked Lu Zhaojiang, "Have you reached out to him directly yet?" Lu replied, "Not yet. I asked Teacher Li to invite him to dinner, but he hasn't responded." Secretary Kong frowned. "We're the ones receiving investment. We should be showing proper respect. Just because he's a student doesn't mean we can afford to be careless." Lu nodded quickly. "I'll go to his dorm myself this afternoon." Lu Zhaojiang frowned, then said, "Still feels like we're not showing enough sincerity. I'll come with you this afternoon, and let's bring Teacher Li too. You want to go personally?" Lu looked stunned. Shen Yuan is still just a student here. Isn't this a bit over the top? Meanwhile, at 5:30 p.m. in the boys' dorm, Huang Mao rushed up to Shen Yuan, waving his phone excitedly. "Bro, I've been chatting with Tian Yuping nonstop. Take a look and tell me. How close am I to winning her over?" Shen Yuan scrolled through the chat history. It was a full wall of messages from Huang Mao, brimming with care and concern. Tian Yuping's replies? Cold, minimal, barely 2 or 3 words. But Huang Mao looked like he was on cloud 9. Shen Yuan was speechless. 3 years, and no growth whatsoever. If Huang Mao managed to get the girl this way, it had to be some kind of black magic. "Bro, look," Huang Mao said confidently. "She replies to every message. That's a massive leap compared to when I chased her class bell. I can feel the progress bar steadily filling." Shen Yuan sighed internally. "If you really believe that, then who am I to stop you?" But all he said was, "Maybe you should ask Old Chow for advice." "Old Chow?" Huang Mao scoffed. "That virgin? What does he know? Come on, you're the most experienced one in our dorm." From the side, Old Chow grumbled, "What the hell did I do to you today?" At least she replies, "And she agreed to hang out this weekend." Huang Mao said firmly, "That means she likes me, right? Tell me, bro." Shen Yuan had no more energy to argue. Right, sure, whatever you say." "Hell yeah. If you think so, then it's basically confirmed." "Nice." Huang Mao beamed with pride, while Shen Yuan thought silently, damn, hardcore sims like this are kind of terrifying. Suddenly, loud knocking echoed from outside the dorm room. Huang Mao jumped up. Who the heck is banging like that? He opened the door and immediately blurted out, whoa, Secretary Kong? Secretary Liu? Counselor Li, what brings you all here? Huang Mao quickly stepped aside, wide-eyed. The school leaders were standing at the door. Li Xiao spoke up. Is Shen Yuan here? He's here. Of course he's here. As he let them in, Huang Mao was thinking, 3 big names coming for our bro? Don't tell me. He broke some sacred school rule? A couple of students in the hallway were whispering. Why are both secretaries here? Are they here for Shen Yuan? Didn't his family go bankrupt? Now, he suddenly has a car and a girlfriend from outside school. He's probably up to something shady. Just then, Li Jianpeng walked by and chimed in, obviously. Where else would he get that kind of money? Something's definitely fishy. They're probably here to hold him down until the cops arrive. Li Jianpeng, you dumbass. Quit spreading crap. Huang Mao snapped. I Jianpeng smirked. We'll see who's full of crap soon enough. Li Xiao turned to Shen Yuan with a smile. These are Secretary Kong and Secretary Liu from the Youth League Committee. Shen Yuan quickly stood up. Hello, Secretary Kong. Kong Zomping nodded and got straight to the point. Shen Yuan, do you have time tonight? We'd like to invite you to dinner. Talk about the startup base. Tonight? Sure, I'm free. Shen Yuan nodded casually. Secretary Kong immediately beamed. Great. I'll book a place now. It's getting late anyway. Let's go and have a proper chat. And with that, the 3 leaders walked out with Shen Yuan in the middle, leaving a hallway full of stunned students whispering behind them. Bro Peng. Doesn't really look like they're trying to detain Shen Yuan. It's more like officials showing up for an inspection. Li Jianpeng scoffed. Obviously, they're saving face for him. Even in the news, criminals wear hoods during escort. Come on, stop talking crap, Huang Mao shot back. They're taking our bro out to dinner. 2 secretaries. Imagine how big that is. Seriously, what kind of boss move did Shen Yuan pull to get the school leadership to treat him like this? Huang Mao's voice dripped with sarcasm. I Jianpeng turned red with anger. And the others? They realized Shen Yuan wasn't in the same league as them anymore. Soon, the 4 of them arrived at a private room in a fancy restaurant. Secretary Kong got straight to the point. Shen Yuan, tell us your plans and any conditions. I want to fully understand your vision. Since you want me to invest, Shen Yuan replied calmly, then my conditions must be met. Don't worry. They won't conflict with the school's interests. Secretary Kong nodded. No need to hold back. Speak freely. All right, Shen Yuan said, voice firm. I want full autonomy, meaning who gets funding and how much will be decided solely by me. The school doesn't interfere. What? That's not how we operate. Liu Zhaojiang immediately frowned, but Secretary Kong gestured for him to quiet down. Let him finish. Shen Yuan, this kind of setup involves multiple parties. Letting the investor have full control might not be so simple. The school still has to ensure students we support actually succeed. Shen Yuan nodded. You're right, Secretary. But without funding, success is just talk. Think of me as the base's acting director that why money doesn't just want to nurture talent. It wants to produce profits. And that's something both you and I care about. With that, Shen Yuan stopped talking that he had money and he was willing to invest, but he wasn't handing out charity. His system-driven mission was clear: build wealth, grow businesses, earn prestige, become a tycoon. He knew one thing. He'd need elite talent to manage his empire. Rather than recruiting outsiders in the future, why not use this startup base to cultivate a loyal, in-house team from day one? More importantly, the system required him to engage with a large number of female NPCs. Where else could he find more approachable, charming, and easily unlockable girls than on a college campus? Besides, the female students at Xingqing University were famously the best looking in the city. I'll need to hold a meeting with the Education Bureau before giving you an official answer. Secretary Kong's tone was polite but firm. Shen Yuan simply nodded. He knew something like this would take time and red tape. And so, The dinner wrapped up amidst clinking glasses and polite conversation. By the time they left the restaurant, it was already late. Secretary Kong checked the time, then turned to Li Xiao. Teacher Li, Shen Yuan's had some drinks. He can't drive. Why don't you give him a ride back? We'll head off first. Wow, your new car's really spacious. Once in the vehicle, Li Xiao seemed a little tense. After all, this was that internet-famous SUV. Most people couldn't even dream of affording it. I've always driven sedans. Thought I'd try out an SUV this time, Shen Yuan said casually. Just as Li Xiao was buckling her seatbelt, her phone rang. Li Meng? What? You got rescheduled and can't help with the move. It's fine. I'll just book a van service. Don't worry, I've got it. Shen Yuan realized it was her younger sister calling. You're moving? He asked curiously. Li Xiao nodded. Yeah, in 2 days. Our lease is ending, so my sister and I are switching apartments. Wanting to help? Shen Yuan offered. Li Xiao hesitated. That's not really appropriate. This is a brand new car. I feel bad scratching it or something. I'll just book a moving van. It's just a car, not an heirloom, Shen Yuan replied casually. And helping a teacher out? That's just what a good student should do. Li Xiao waved her hand. No need to trouble you. Between the two of us, we've got a lot of stuff. All right, counselor. Enough dodging. Helping you move isn't exactly a big deal, Shen Yuan said casually. Then, okay. Li Xiao finally agreed. Realizing any more refusal would just feel awkward, as she glanced at Shen Yuan, she suddenly blushed. His face was sharp and defined. If not for the teacher-student dynamic, he was actually kind of handsome. Wait a second, so eager to help me move? And that bag he gave me before? Maybe Li Meng was right. He does have feelings for me. And that bag? He claimed it was a knockoff, but with his financial situation, no way that wasn't real. With that in mind, she asked carefully, Shen Yuan, do you remember the bag you gave me before? Shen Yuan looked over. Of course. Why? You said it was a fake back then. Before she could finish, Shen Yuan cut in. Actually, it was the real deal. But hey, I'm not short on cash now. So, giving a nice gift to a favorite teacher. He froze mid-sentence and quickly corrected himself. Wait, I meant a respected teacher, not favorite like that. But that explanation only made things worse. Li Xiao's face turned even redder. Oh, it really was that kind of meaning. But no, this is inappropriate. I'm older, and his teacher, she softly said, Shen Yuan. All right, let's go. No need to give me the usual not appropriate lecture. I'm not giving up anyway. Shen Yuan knew Li Xiao wasn't like the others. She needed something slower, more genuine, and he was willing to take his time. Before long, they pulled up to the school gate. Are you going home tonight? She asked. Nope, Shen Yuan replied. No room for me at home. I'll sleep in the dorm. Then I'll leave the car here. You could drive it tomorrow. She handed him the key. But in the very next moment, Shen Yuan leaned in and gently kissed her on the cheek. For that split second, time froze. The world went completely still.